Good evening. Calling to order the Municipality of Monroeville's Citizens Night and regular council meeting for February 9th, 2021. It is approximately 7:10 p.m. Could all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Roll call, please.
Mayor Grieslock,
Here.
Mrs. Gatos,
Here.
Mr. Poach,
Here.
Mr. Harvey,
Here.
Mr. Wolfram,
Here.
Mr. Ursinko, Mr. Williams,
Here.
Mr. Wilson, Mr. Little,
Here.
Mr. Ratcher,
Here.
Ms. Rock, Mr. Yugis,
Here.
Mr. Weldon,
Here.
Mr. Sedlak,
Here. Thank you. And I'll just start with saying the 7th Ward Councilman, Mr. Wilson, is unable to attend this evening. He is actually hospitalized. It is not COVID-related. I spoke with him today. He's in very good spirits. He's having some testing done, and he really wishes he could be here this evening. And he was actually trying to find a way for the hospital to televise this for them, and they're taking good care of him, but they couldn't provide a TV that had this meeting on. But Tom will be okay, and he once again, he wishes he was here, but unfortunately he can't be this evening. So with that, we're going to start. We have our Citizens Night. We're going to start with a presentation at first. We have Radhika Kondavidi is here from Kondavidi
Interelectric.
Interelectric. Would you just like to say it?
Yes, it's Interelectric.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So welcome, and if you want to lower your
Okay.
mask to speak, it's up to you. You certainly can keep it on as you're there, but if you,
If you can't hear me, I'm
very good, but
All right.
welcome.
So thank you for the opportunity for allowing me to explain about our company. We're a minority women's enterprise company, and we are in the energy business, efficiency solutions, management, consulting, and renewable energy projects. And we are certified by the Women's Business Enterprise, okay? I think you have handouts in front of you.
We do?
Yeah. So on the second page, currently, Monroeville Municipality has about 1,500 streetlights provided by Duquesne Light Company, and 371 of those lights were converted by them. So there's still a remaining 1,220 lights remaining that are not LED. And if you look at the charges, per year, Duquesne Light is charging $250,000 in fees for their lights, and the energy charges are $43,000, $278, and that's to the company of Constellation. So Duquesne Light is the distributor of the energy, and then the energy company itself is Constellation. So if you go to the next page, so this is how you see an annual fee of total with energy, with Constellation and Duquesne Light, about an annual cost of $302,000. Okay. So with the changing of lights to LED lights by Duquesne Light Company, they actually are charging an estimated annual fee of $278,000. A surcharge of $6,000 and around. I'm rounding all of this off to make it a little bit easier for you. Annual expense with Duquesne Light is $284,000 and $900, and that's a 48% estimated in savings. Now, if you look back, you see that their annual charge currently is $300,000. So your savings is only about $18,000 per year with the change of LED lights from the standard lighting that they have. So our company is Interelectric. As I stated, we specialize in energy solutions and high-quality LED lights that are customized. If you see here, we can actually have a savings of $119,000 annually with a surcharge of $2,600 and an annual expenditure of $122,000 by utilizing that company. Because when you look at the figures, Duquesne Light charges you a distribution fee of $13 about for each light. They vary with different lights, the wattage. But if you own your own light and it's customized, you don't have to pay that payment. The distribution cost would be $2.71. So that's where you see the difference in savings. The project of DLC versus Interelectric, as you can see, without LED lights, it would be the same cost, $302,000. We would be saving you 388 kilowatts, and energy save for us would be 60% because we would customize your light. We would have the newest technology available. So there's where you see the difference between the savings of 42% to 60%. The other factor that it would save the municipality is that Duquesne Light actually charges you $109 for each removal of the light to change it to an LED light. So if we have 1,591 lights, 371 are already changed over, you still have 20 lights left over. So for each removal, they're charging you $109, which would cost $100,032. Whereas our company, we would not charge you that. That would be within the agreement itself. You can see that if you look down, the total annual charges would be $284 still with them changing the lights versus $122 with us, and that's because of this distribution costs. And also, we would eat or take the savings. We'd give the savings of $30,000 because we would change the lights ourselves. Over the year, it's only $15,000 in rebates. I'm sorry, in savings, where it's $177,000 by utilizing our company. And the payback would be 8 years for the municipality if they continue to use Duquesne Light by changing all the lights, because that is the cost of each light fixture that they change, which is $109. So if you go to the project financials, the next page, we would take the installation distribution cost, that's minus $100,000. The energy savings would be $21,000. So the savings by utilizing our company would be $179,000 versus the about $300,000 that Duquesne Light would be charging. Out of this savings, we would do is we would take 90% of the savings. That is to cover operating costs, change of lights, maintenance, and the municipality would get 10%. That is the first year. The project is a 10-year contract. The lights last for 15 years. So the savings to the municipality during the contract is $179,000 per year. After the contract, you would have a savings of $807, and total savings of the project would be $987,000. That goes back to the municipality. Okay, and then the other thing that is a benefit is the project is eligible for utility rebates under Act 129, and that would be a $47,000 savings. That would be a benefit for the municipality. We would not take that. Okay. So in summary, the project benefits are there's zero upfront capital costs. It's invested, the project cost is invested by Interelectric. Monroeville may get up to $47,000 in rebates under Act 129. There is a savings of $17,900 from energy savings during the contract project, and the benefit of over $1 million during the lifetime of the project. We would be installing the 1,220 lights, and they would be the highest infinity lights. We are a special expert on our panel that can utilize those lights and see which one works best for Monroeville. They have better illumination. We can also, the current lights don't have any adjustable factor built into the light for dimming for nighttime or areas that there's not a lot of traffic. And we would be able to help create a light for those special issues. And so there's no financial or technology risk to the municipality. In fact, we would see it as a savings. The other thing is the environmental benefits. So the total energy is about 5 million kilowatts hours saved during the project period. So what does that mean? That means if you equal it out, there's about 59,000 tree saplings grown in 10 years. It's about 24 acres of U.S. forest preserved per year. Now, if you go to the ESCO model, which is the energy service company, you can see before you were paying 100% in utility payment. During the period with the energy company, you would still pay that utility payment, which is 40%. 60% would come back to Interelectric and the municipality. We would give 10% of that savings to the municipality, and then we operate with the rest of it through operating costs, capital expenditures. That's what we would utilize it for. After the 10-year period, that 60% completely goes to you. You still have your utility payment, and you still need to do about 20% of operating and costs for that. Okay. Just a picture, it's to just see how the difference in light. You see the patches currently with the lights, the darkness between the lights, and but with the LED lights, there's a brighter shadow. Okay, so the way forward, how would we do this? We would get into an agreement first, and then we would do a baseline study just to analyze the lights, what is utilized, the exact dollar, and then we would pilot the project for the energy savings. And after that is completed, we'd escrow arrangement for the funds to be placed, and then the utility payment is the final product and the shared savings. Okay. Thank you. Any questions?
Very good. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes.
Yes,
Well,
Mr. Hardy.
it's kind of a question and a comment.
Yes.
Mr. Hugus, Duquesne Light's been changing some of our street lights over to LED. Do they charge us for that?
Yes,
Okay.
we do 100 a year now. 100 per year we change out, and $109 per light.
Okay.
So it's $10,900.
Okay. And the second thing is great presentation, and don't take this as an insult, but can anybody go up and change Duquesne Light's lights?
Our agreement is for them to.
We can't
Oh,
hear
we're
Mr.
gonna-
Hugus.
Paul, we're gonna need you on a microphone there.
You have to come up.
Paul, why don't you just come to the podium? And just to recap what Mr. Hugus said, so we replace currently about 100 a year, and then Duquesne Light charges us $109 per
Yes.
light to
So
change that out.
So probably for the last 5 years, we've been changing 100 lights per year to LEDs at $109 per light. But Duquesne Light owns and maintains it, so if it malfunctions, they have to do the repairs.
It's their problem.
That's correct.
So that's the ones we call in, the neighbors call us, and we
Yes.
call Mr. Little, and they go out and fix it for free.
That's correct.
Okay. But to change it, we pay $109.
To change it from the sodium vapor to an LED, yes.
One time.
One time.
That's it for now.
Okay.
Well, then, just along those lines, so if there is a malfunction with one of the
We would
lights,
go in there and change
you
it.
would fix it and
We'd fix
repair
it.
it?
We do all the operating costs for the next 10 years.
Okay, in that, okay,
Mm-hmm.
very good.
I have a question.
Yes.
What if we're with Duquesne Light now, you're a new company, obviously. What if you guys go out of business? Where does that leave us?
So we would make sure that, well, first of all, we hope that doesn't happen.
Well, I do, no, so do I, but, you've
And,
always got to
well,
look at
we have a
that.
lot of expertise there behind this. And also, when you see our company, we are going to be present here in Monroeville, even though Duquesne Light is. But I don't think Duquesne Light, as soon as you contact us for any fixtures or any situations, we are available just within the community itself.
Well, where
We're
are
in
you now?
Monroeville.
Are you in
In
Murraysville?
Monroeville.
Okay, have you set this up at
We
any
haven't set it up,
surrounding
we've set it up
communities?
in different countries,
Countries?
in different
But no
countries.
communities near
Not
us that we
communities
could,
here. Yeah.
or in
Is
the
it,
US at
Mr.
all?
Rector, can we get like a performance bond or something, or?
Well, you could, yes. Yeah, you could. There's a cost to that, obviously, and whoever the vendors are gonna pass that cost along to you.
So that would, That
That
would
would
be,
cut into your savings.
but it would be guaranteeing their work.
Well, it would be guaranteeing somebody would do the work in the event that they could not do the work.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Was that ever done with other countries that you put that,
Yes.
that you put in, I'm sorry,
Yes,
these
yeah.
Massatari talk. Okay, so that is possible
It
that
is
we could do
possible.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
And do you have an estimate what that would charge back to us? 10%, 20%?
I'd have to get back to you on that, actually.
Okay.
That's a fair question.
Yeah.
And
If you would get a phone call, say, streetlights out this certain place, how long before you get in there and
That was my
fix
next
it?
As soon as possible. We have a lot of infrastructure in place already. We have a lot of staff who are very interested in our company and will be available to help.
Counsel, it'd be my suggestion that she make an appointment with the manager, Mr. Hugus, and lay out a more specific, I thought it was a great presentation, but as you can see, there's a lot of questions.
I think it's definitely worth considering. I mean, one question I would have, I don't know if it's for you, if it's for Mr. Little or Mr. Hugus. So, with the lights, are we contracted through Duquesne Light for all of the lights, or could we do different, say, neighborhoods or zones with? Can we pick and choose different companies for individual
I
lights?
can't answer that question. I
Would
don't
that
know.
be a Robert question, Bob?
Well,
I don't know that,
One more question. What if we need a street light installed? Like, we get residents that will say, could we please have a light added because it's too dark on the bend or the, you know, what would that cost us to have you come and do that? And how
So our
long?
current proposal is really the lights that we're changing, the current lights.
Yes,
We can
so-
actually, the existing lights, but we can revisit that also and
Well, it would
see.
have to be because we
Yeah.
get that, you know.
That's why I
all
said
the
she's
time.
gotta sit down with,
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
so
manager.
that's
Definitely.
maybe something
Yes,
that you haven't looked
absolutely.
into, but it's something
Yeah.
we certainly do get.
That you need,
Yes.
absolutely.
And Bob, back
Okay.
to my question. So as far as spot change, changing lights in certain areas or certain.
well, I mean, as long as either vendor or either these people, Duquesne Light or somebody else would want to do that, I think as a practical matter, what you might run into there is the issue that, okay, there's a light out now, well, whose light is it, et cetera, from the standpoint of somebody reporting it.
Oh, that makes sense.
Well, but we have our
Yeah.
current LEDs that are already there, the Duquesne Light already
Sure,
swapped out.
sure.
But
Yeah.
what he's saying is that if a street light goes out now, we call it Duquesne Light.
Right.
If we start sectionalizing,
Yeah, you gotta
Yeah.
find out whose it is.
we
That
find,
makes
yeah,
sense. Okay.
exactly. We'd have-
Well, I guess to Mr. Harvey's point, great presentation, we appreciate it. But I think we have a lot to look into, but maybe we could Mr. Little, if you could set up a time to maybe.
I have a lot of questions,
Yeah.
but no sense, for the sake of brevity, it'd be better
Absolutely.
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
Me to sit down with you and Mr. Hugus and
Okay.
ask the questions
I
then.
want to add
Mr.
one,
Mayor,
I want to
may
add
I?
one other point, before
No.
I get my question in on it too. So,
You like
we
it.
talked about a pilot project also, so we can pick that, so we have the opportunity to see it. now,
Yeah,
first of all.
absolutely.
Okay, so this
And you would
wouldn't-
be a part of it.
Yeah, it's
It
not like we
wouldn't-
gotta jump in with both feet and keep
No,
swimming. Okay,
no.
that's terrific. Okay, that's something that's good.
Yeah.
I
We
can
would
tell
make
you-
sure that the numbers actually work
Okay,
Yeah, I can
good.
tell you
to
from
the benefit of the
another
municipality.
organization that made this particular switch over, it is, at the end of the day, millions of dollars in savings. So you're talking about two things that make us really happy. You know,
Yeah.
environmentally safe and the
It is.
potential
Yes.
for
Yeah.
long-term savings. You know, so those are positive things, and also being a Monroeville.
And a higher quality of light, too.
Absolutely.
Right, I mean,
Yeah.
Which we can see the difference in the few that we've had change, you know, how much different
Sure.
it's made. So to be able to get it done quicker.
So
would be
cer-
good.
certainly, please, by all means,
absolutely.
follow up with Tim and Paul and lay out the rest of it, like Ron said, to do that.
Okay.
But this is certainly going down the right track,
Okay.
you know, to do that too.
Yeah, I
Mr.
just
want
wanted to
to-
say I'm certainly in favor of it, but Bob, can you look into the issue that I think Linda brought up? If somebody on a dark corner has it, would Duquesne Light do that, or do we work that out with Intel Electric? I mean,
Well, I would think we would do one of the two. I think Duquesne Light has an obligation to respond to those things on some level, to
can
provide
you look
service.
into
Yeah,
that is what I'm
yeah, sure.
asking you?
Well, that-
And then share that with the manager and
that's the
obviously
kind of things I
Intel.
wanted Mr. Hugus
Yeah.
and Tim to work out with it.
Yeah,
Yeah, but Bob's the legal.
it's a
lead.
good opening
please
conversation
be
for
moving
sure.
forward.
Thank you for the
By all means,
Thank you
information.
very much. Thank you for allowing me to
Sure,
present.
absolutely.
Sure,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Yeah, thank you so
Good
much.
job, good job.
I like the long. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Uh-huh.
guys.
Well, and environmental
Environmentally,
issues is
absolutely.
great, yeah.
Absolutely. It's a huge. Lot of savings there. A lot of money saved.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, so we have a few things here on our agenda. So this is our citizens' night. The majority, I believe, are here to speak about one item, which is the rezoning of the airport. The rezoning is actually a public hearing item, so we are going to get to that. But is there anyone here, because this is still Citizens Night, to address council on any municipal matter other than the rezoning? Because during the rezoning, we want to do it during the public hearing part, but is there anyone here who want to present or ask any questions about anything else in Monroeville? Please, come on up.
Okay.
And Miss, did you already sign in?
Yes,
Okay.
Lindsay.
Wait, you have to say it when you.
Once, whenever you get here, I'll have you state your name for the record, and I'll find you on here.
Okay.
If you could move over to one of these, but the microphone picks you up a little bit better.
Yep, and
with
you're
that.
good right there.
Thank you.
Perfect.
And I'm sorry, your name?
Sherry Lindsay.
Sherry Lindsay. Perfect, thank you, Sherry. And I see you are a Monroeville resident.
Yes.
So you are just stating your name for the record. We have it on file here, so
Okay.
the floor is yours.
So I'm not here for rezoning.
Yeah, well-
I'm hearing more about the committees, the appointments of committees. My concern is I've lived in Monroeville all my life. My daughter started in kindergarten. She's graduating this year. She's a senior this year at Gateway.
Congrats.
So, thank you. So, we've lived here all our life, love Monroeville, but my concern is the appointment of the committees are a little bit biased from the fact they don't represent people of color. I don't see a lot of it. I've put in interest recently, and we're kind of told, well, there's no one appointed to this committee, so we're not going to be filling these committee boards. That was a constant until I just started to try to drum up interest from other people to say, hey, we need to represent. I don't understand the process as much, but I know that there's a lot of people of interest who've kind of been shut down unknowingly. Like, oh, well, there's no one going to be of interest. But if all these people together, it would have been people of interested in these committees. And you would have had enough people to fill a lot of the slots that you said there was no one interested in. I know I've asked to be a part of different ones and been told, well, there's no one else that's a part of it. There's no one else. And just to give a little bit of background on myself, I worked for AHN for many years. I worked with Dr. Rubino, Dr. Mukama, and I don't see why that has never been something that was discussed.
Can I ask what ward you're from?
Seven. And I'm confused as to why you're saying that someone has told you not to apply for a board.
When I sent
I
the
don't know who that
emails.
is.
I sent the emails and I was told, because I wasn't interested in the popular committees. I was interested in things like the ethics committee.
Yes.
I was interested in things like the personnel committee.
Yeah.
And I was told there was no interest and there was no community interest, and therefore they wouldn't be filling those spots.
Well, that would have only
If I
been,
could comment on that.
yeah.
Nick, yeah, lower your.
For instance, on the Ethics Commission or the Personnel Board or the Human Needs and Resources Board.
Correct.
We probably only, out of all those boards, I don't know definitely, we probably have one person. And probably somebody told you, we do not have those boards filled, so they're not meeting. The Ethics Commission, the Personnel Board, the Human Needs and Resources, to name three of them, they haven't met for years because there's nobody on them. Now, I find it hard to believe somebody told you, well, nobody, don't apply for them. You certainly can apply for
I
them.
have the email.
Anybody.
Yeah,
I'd like to see.
Yeah, do you have?
Absolutely have the email.
I would like to see the email.
Yeah, don't leave.
I won't.
No, because this has been a big,
I have an email.
this is, there's gonna be a lot of change this evening, you will see, in what happens with these boards. Can I
Yeah,
just say
anybody can
that?
apply. I mean,
So please stay and see,
All I'm going to say, I'm just letting you know that's where my
we wanna see the
frustration lies.
email
Sure.
as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, that, please,
Okay.
do that.
that'd be great,
And don't go
yes.
after we get to the regular measure.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, you are free to go, I mean, but
yeah.
I don't know,
I
Mayor, no.
understand.
Thank you,
But
Mayor.
I will absolutely
So
stay.
we would like you to
And
stay
that
to
brings
see
on
that
another-
we have really come up with some great ideas because
Thank you, Linda.
there's been so much interest, and we are
Okay.
so happy that it's been, the level of awareness has been brought up to where it is right now
Okay.
within the community, because we announce it every meeting, and we beg people, please apply. There's openings here, there's openings. So I know that you are part of making the word get out there, because I have read your posts.
Yeah.
Okay, and I want to thank you for that, because it's been very, very difficult on all of us to have boards that are shutting down because we have a huge community and nobody wants to be on has applied to be on the boards. Now we have a lot of people that want to be there, and we want you there.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
okay? I think that's the
And
easiest
if,
way
and
for
if you
me
had a
to-
process problem too, I mean,
Yes,
Call me on the phone, you can send me an email.
Okay,
okay?
thank you.
Thank you, Sherry.
Thank you.
thank you for saying that.
Ladies and gentlemen, does anyone else want to address council for any item that's not related to the rezoning of the airport? Okay, very good.
Long night.
And we're gonna move into our regular council meeting.
7:36.
I have an executive session announcement that council conducted an executive session before tonight's council meeting on Tuesday, February 9th, 2021, from 6:15 to approximately 7 PM for personnel and litigation reasons. Council legislative action, if any, shall be taken at tonight's council meeting.
Mr. Mayor, may I?
Yes.
Why don't we?
No, I'm moving the agenda around right now. If that's what you're getting at.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to get the executive session announcement out of the way. But yes, we are going to move down through the agenda,
Why don't we do the committee?
and we are going to go to our old business.
That's the first one.
Yes. Old business 20-1-Z Clover Communities, Monroeville LLC. The applicant's requesting to rezone 57.982 acres of property currently zoned L, special use, to R4, multifamily residential. The property is located at 3926 Logan's Ferry Road, otherwise known as Browns Airport, tax parcel 741-R-333. This is a public hearing item. I'd move on further that the planning commission recommends approval and that council tabled this application at their January 12th, 2021 meeting. So, Mr. Ratcher, procedurally,
Would we have
could we
to make a
take a
motion
vote
on
for,
table?
could we take a vote for, to untable it, to do the public hearing, or not necessarily?
Yeah, let's take it off let's make a motion to take it off the table.
Okay.
It's an active item.
And I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to, this is just to remove it from the
To
table so we can
untable it.
talk about it.
Yes.
This is no other action other than
Yes.
that. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Wolfram?
Aye.
Mr. Arsenko?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
The ayes have it, very good. And then, this is being a public hearing item, we have the applicant that's here, and also too, we have numerous people that want to speak. I'm gonna have everybody actually be sworn in if you are going to add testimony to the public hearing this evening. So if you plan on speaking, we'll swear you in. If I swear you in, that doesn't mean you have to speak, you can change your mind not to speak. And if you don't get sworn in and you decide to speak, we can also swear you in before you speak. If everybody follows me on that.
Mr. Mayor,
No.
Everybody got it?
Just easier to do it all at once.
before we get into that, I'd like Mr. Walden to tell us the difference between an L special use and R4, and what can be.
We gotta do that
put there.
under,
Yep, I
Wait.
think that's a good question.
Before the public comes up. and
I think that's a good
comments on it.
question. That maybe that can help with just the explanation briefly, but I definitely want to get everybody sworn in, and then we'll make sure it all gets in the record, and we're all on the same page here. So, if you're going to speak, or if you plan to speak, please rise for me. And if you could, raise your right hand or your left hand. Yeah, I got you there.
I've had one of them.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. Very easy. Okay, so we have the applicant here. Robert Jack, please, welcome.
Thank you.
And also to Mr.
Williams.
Williams' question.
Oh, yeah, did you want to start with that?
Yeah, where is Mr. Wielden?
He's hiding
He's
back
in the
there.
corner. I can see him. He's there.
Come on up.
Paul, if you could.
Put him in the corner.
He's close to the door so he can run out.
Looking for the easy exit.
It's
Yep.
Mr. Wielden, our zoning officer. Yeah, so Paul, Bob, your question was just the difference of the two zoning
The
districts?
difference with the usage of these two zones.
I have
are.
it if you need it.
Okay.
People, the public may have questions, and this might answer some of them.
So Paul, if you have the use table in front of you, you could maybe read, currently the airport is zoned as L. So if you can maybe read what is currently permitted as is in L, and then the proposal is to move it to R4, what the uses are for that. I mean, I think that would help everybody.
Sure.
Thank you.
L special use, the permitted uses are agriculture, office, research laboratory, accessory uses, forestry, and timbering. Conditional uses include church, community use, heliport, hospital, major excavation, nursing home, personal care home, public use, and utility station, substation. So under those uses, currently, without doing a rezoning, an office park could be built there.
In its current state.
In its current,
They wouldn't have to rezone, it'd just be a site plan
Correct.
approval.
yep.
And
So-
then there's typical height restrictions, things of that nature on the table as well.
Yes. So under the L special use, front yard setback is 35 feet, side yard is 15, rear yard is 10, maximum height is 45. So it's not too bad, but the uses are much more intense as compared to an R4, which we consider multifamily residential. And again, we have agriculture, garden apartments, which are 3-story apartments, one-family residential, parks and recreation, townhouses, 2-family house, accessory uses, forestry and timbering, and then under conditional uses, it's apartments, child care center, church, school, group dwelling B, group dwelling C, major excavation, membership club, nursing home, personal care home, public building, public school, recreation club, utility substation, and then under special exceptions, you would be permitted to have a bed and breakfast. There's planned residential development, and then some lot criteria. The minimum lot size is 7,500 square feet, minimum lot width 60 feet, minimum lot frontage 40 feet, minimum front yard 30 feet, side yard is 10, rear yard is 40, and maximum height is 35. And this is what the applicant is requesting, and they are applying for what appears to be an apartment building, which would be a conditional use in the R4.
Actually, garden apartments.
Are you gonna go garden? Okay.
Since
so
we're 3-story, yeah.
Yeah, so it could be garden apartments in. Like the Evergreen Apartments, Fox Plant Apartments, they're 4 stories, so they would be a conditional use. But if they want to do garden apartments as a 3-story, it would be a permitted use in the R4.
What would conditional use cause?
It's just another step that they have to go through. It involves a public hearing.
Okay.
Really no other criteria.
And that could be, a conditional use can easily, well, not easily, but it can be denied at a councilmatic level. Whereas if it's actually a permitted use, as long as they follow all the guidelines, any council couldn't deny that.
Correct. It's, yeah.
But a conditional use, you could deny it just because you don't think it's the best, a council doesn't think it's the best use for that area.
Yeah, they could fight it obviously, but it's a little bit more difficult.
Within reason, of course.
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Williams, does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate the explanation.
Thanks, Paul.
Okay.
So what we'll do is, Mr. Jack is here to present what they're proposing.
Yep.
Once again, we're talking about a rezoning, not a site plan. And there was some confusion last month. That's really one of the reasons we wanted to really table our last month's meeting, because we were doing it electronically on a computer, and it's not the best way to do meetings. We've been doing it like that for several months. No one likes it, and we really wanted to give everybody more time. We wanted to get more information, and but what the point I was trying to make last month is that, you know, we were getting a lot of responses about the actual building or a proposed building itself, and that's okay to give those comments, but council at that time couldn't change anything or modify things at that point because it's not a site plan approval. So if someone said, well, that parking lot's too big, and council said, well, we could make it smaller, you can't do that in a rezoning. That has to be done during a site plan approval. So there was a little confusion. One thing I wanted to definitely say, and I had to go back and watch the meeting as well. I thought I was clear, and I got some emailed questions that I wasn't. But all of the comments from last period, we had 16 written comments. They were all against the rezoning. It doesn't minimize your complaint that you're talking about the site plan. You could just say you're against it no matter what. But so I did say all of them are against the rezoning. I was very clear on that. Yes, I did say the site plan questions we couldn't really answer because that's really not at that point in the process as well. Certainly these things often go hand in hand, and Mr. Jackson will be here to present what they're proposing, but council and the audience and everyone has to keep in mind that although they're presenting this and you know, they're doing it in a good faith effort, this isn't their actual official site plan application as far as all the specifics. They would have to come back, if by chance a zoning did move forward, they would have to come back and have the actual site plan approved and scrutinized at that level as well. So at that point, I just want to make that clear that, yes, all the rezoning comments last month were against the rezoning. Maybe some of the reasons were for the site plan. That doesn't minimize it at all. They were all against it. And we also received some written comments as well. I think some of these people are also here as well, so we'll go through those as well. But I'll let everybody speak, and then we'll go through the written ones as well. So
Okay.
without further ado, Mr. Jack, if you could, please go ahead with your presentation.
Great,
If you
thank
could
you.
state your name, please.
Sure, Robert Jack.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for the introduction and kind of the background on the project. I think that's helpful. I'm Rob Jack with Clover Development. We are developers of senior independent living, senior apartments basically. And we're seeking rezoning approval for 58 acres at 3926 Logan's Ferry Road. I'll give you a little bit of background on Clover. We were started in 1987 by our current president and owner, Michael Joseph. We've got 32 of these operating. We've got about 11 more under construction in the Northeast and Midwest. The projects are fully market rate, not subsidized. We develop, we own, we operate the facilities. We've never converted a facility to an all-age community, and we do not have any HUD-funded projects in the portfolio. We have 3 facilities operating in the Pittsburgh area: Bethel Park, North Fayette Township, and Robinson Township. We're under construction, just about wrapped up in Hempfield. And we just started construction in Beaver, Brighton Township in November. As mentioned, we're looking for rezoning approval from the L district to the R4 district. If you can see there, the blue outline is the entire 58 acres. And again, the site plan is not finalized yet, but the concept up in the corner by Logan's Ferry Road, that's the 8 to 10 acres where we would develop the senior apartment project. There's a look at the current zoning map with the L district and then the R2 surrounding. And then here's a closer look at the site plan relative to Logan's Ferry Road. We would build a new entrance kind of adjacent to the existing Browns Airport Road. It would just come back in 150 feet or so and then turn into our entrance. No plans for the balance of the property at this time. We would likely sell that. We don't really develop anything other than senior apartments. We tried to buy just the 8 to 10 acres. The seller wants to sell the whole thing, so that's kind of why we're buying the whole thing and looking to rezone the entire property. Again, just a summary, we are market rate, senior independent living, pay full taxes, obviously no load on the school system. We will be age restricted, 60 years and older, consistent with the Fair Housing Code, or Fair Housing Act. Building will be 3 stories, about 138,000 square feet, 122 units, 122 parking spaces, and there will be some leasable garages around the perimeter of the site. One of the concerns in talking to Paul and then some of the staff was the traffic was going to be an issue. It sounds like there's a substandard intersection not far from here, and that was going to be a key component. So we hired Worcester to do a traffic analysis. We had them look at the current zoning, and with the current zoning, you could build about 270,000 square feet of office. That would generate 2,800 cars a day, peak AM hour of 282 cars, peak PM hour of 295 cars. And then we looked at if we rezoned it to R4, and we built all single-family homes, that would result in about 1,200 cars a day with an AM peak of 90 and a PM peak of 121. And then the next table, table 3, shows our senior development. Generates about 400 cars a day, 460 cars a day, AM peak hour of 24 and PM peak hour of 32. So generally speaking, very low traffic generator relative to single-family homes or an office use that could be built there today. That's some of the additional trip generation info. These are some photos of some of our existing projects, exterior photos, three-story. We occasionally build 4-story, but this project will be 3. Some of the interior amenities and common spaces for our tenants. And I think that's it. I'd like to open it up to questions and,
I'm gonna ask a question.
yes.
You said that you're not gonna use all this property, so, you're gonna try and sell off
The balance?
the balance.
Yeah.
So if we rezone it, then we've opened the rest of that up to the same. Why can't we, can we not just do a piece and not this whole big, huge area? I mean, it's just a question. I don't know that even if we want to change it at all, but do we have to change it, the whole entire piece, or just, can we just do one section?
Yeah, so I mean, it seems likely based on the surrounding uses that will go to residential. The balance of the site would go to some type of residential use. That's why we decided to move forward with the full 58 acres. I mean, that's something we could consider if,
Yeah, is to just leave the rest of it alone
Yeah.
until somebody else comes in, because that kind of leaves us open-ended.
Yeah, but to your, I don't know if your question, but yes, legally they are allowed to. They
Yeah.
can, they
Right.
can, they can subdivide a property and rezone. Actually, you don't have to subdivide. You can actually, typically they do, but you could even just do one parcel, part of it zone 1 and part of it zone not something else.
Or just leave it as it is.
Leave it as
Or
it
leave it,
is.
exactly,
Yeah.
or leave it as is, or a mixture.
right, and then the next developer, whoever that may be, could come in.
Whoever
and-
you sell to then would
Could
have
come in
to
and
also
rezone,
come and get
right.
an okay to do whatever they want to do.
Right, with the R4, you're allowed to have single family.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems like that's the way it would go.
And it may be, but I'm just asking the
Right.
question because you said you plan on
No,
selling
that's
the
a great
balance.
point.
I'm sure
Yeah.
everyone in here's like, oh, to who, and what are they
Right.
gonna do?
Right,
So,
right.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
And I know this is just for rezoning, but my question is, I think there's a lot of thinking about that airport road going back in there. Are you gonna cut that off right there? And if you are,
So we would build adjacent to that, not right on top of it, not right on top of that road, and we would make it a much wider road into our project.
you say you'd move that road?
Yes.
How far?
I mean, it would go 30, 40 feet.
Could you put that road on the other side of the property?
That's something we'd have to look at when we get into the detailed site planning.
Okay, my question is, if you use that existing road and cut it off, how people who buys the rest of that property, how they get access it?
Sure, whatever we build for our entrance would ultimately have to be extended back to the balance of the site.
So Jack, if you could, in your presentation, if you could bring that back up again, or
Yeah.
already close it out. Because you have the one image there.
Of the whole,
I just want to clarify. How about the one that, do you have a closer one that has like where the
Yep.
road comes in?
right.
Well, the road's the border of the property, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but it looks like,
There's a thin strip, right where it says Browns Airport
I
Road.
can't see.
but where, and I think most people know where the road is in its current location.
Yeah, so we
but
would
it
be
looks like-
just to the north of that.
And it looks like you come in as you normally do off of Logan's Ferry, and it's about looks like the first 2 houses.
Right, would be the
Then
depth that
it
we would
turn-
build.
Then it turns in.
That's right.
So to Mr. Williams's comment, so at this point, you'd be, after the second house coming in,
That would be it.
the remainder of the road you would vacate for now? Or you
Right,
would-
right. We wouldn't build anything
You want-
beyond that entrance.
Okay,
Widen and improve for our project.
right, but
Yeah,
new ownership group, that would more than likely be their access point, or there might be an access point from another neighbor.
that's right. You're right. There are some additional right-of-ways that dead end into this property that a future developer could explore. And
Rob,
we
you
could-
would dedicate, you have that on there, it's difficult to see, but you would dedicate that 60-foot right-of-way for that was the whole length of the property.
Probably and build that to a public road standard.
Have the
Yeah.
right-of-way dedicated so a
Likely,
public
yes.
road could go in.
That would make sense. You're right.
Well, that's
Right.
what they should tell them.
Just just for the sake of looking at the maps and stuff, too, the presentation's a little hard to see.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
at some point.
It's a
I
big
mean,
property.
Well, this is, what I will say, is this is part of the public hearing, this presentation, so
Yeah.
we'll get a copy of it.
Yes, please.
We'll have, Mr. Little will distribute to council, and certainly any resident that would like that, it'll be part of the public record. We can always email that or give you a hard copy of this presentation that he has right now. That's no problem to any resident that requests it.
Sure.
If you sell the rest of that property, you're gonna subdivide it, and your building's gonna be on its own parcel?
We would subdivide, yeah, even before
Okay,
we
now,
sold it, yeah.
Let me
Yeah,
throw
yeah.
something else out to you when you do your plans.
Okay.
We require that under the parking spaces, that's free parking spaces. If you wanna build garages and charge for them, that's up and beyond that. You can't count charged garages as parking spaces. If you're
Okay.
charging for them, it has to be free parking places for the
I think he's right.
project. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. I
And that would
understand.
be, yeah, we'd have to look into that during the
Yeah,
site plan.
during the site
approval
plan,
as well.
yeah.
Yes, and I know that has nothing to do with that, but if you subdivide it, you're gonna have enough property
Understood.
to put them parking places in.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Council, at this point, does anyone have any questions for Mr. Jack? Initial, because we'll get resident feedback, and he's gonna be here for a while, we all will. So we'll talk for a while, but does anybody, like, as of right now, any questions?
It's just strictly to the zoning piece to speak to it as
Right.
well. So, on the part that you're requesting zoned, and you're open
You
to,
have to talk
A,
louder.
leaving it and then separately
Eric,
zoning.
take your mask off, she can't hear you.
Sorry, but
Just talk louder.
I'll go back to the zoning piece, so to repeat my question. Yeah, too, so just we're talking about the zoning part. So the area that you're considering, where that's placed, and if
Yes.
we're looking at that parcel to be able to do that, is that enough, when we come to the site plan approval part of this, to be able to allow you flexibility if the site plan doesn't seem to move that in any way, shape, or form?
Yes.
I'm asking to jump a
Yeah,
little
I
bit
think we
ahead.
would want to leave a little bit of flexibility.
Yes, sir.
We're showing this on about 7.5 acres. We might want to show it on 10 acres, just to give us some flexibility there.
Correct.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, we have a bigger picture here.
Okay.
That's where Zoom meetings are better.
Perfect.
Everybody see it?
You're gonna wanna center that a little bit.
Much
It's
better.
opposite, yeah, you'll have to move it opposite of where it's vacant. but-
Pull it towards your water.
There you go.
There we go. And then,
Point just a
Move
little
it
far.
up a little bit, Rob, or down.
Yep.
I
Down,
guess
sorry.
I'm sorry.
The other up.
yeah, the other
Yeah,
row.
the other up, right.
So
There you go.
Okay.
to my point is so there's some flexibility to that, should then, when we get to the site plan piece of this.
Yeah, I think we'd
that
want
doesn't
to-
seem to be
And
acceptable.
then,
Yeah, I agree.
Okay,
I
thank you.
agree. Yep.
All right, council, if you don't have anything at this point, I want to start getting some residents up here to give their time for the record. So we have Patty Rogus, and also Richard is here as well. I'm not sure if you're both speaking, or if one representative, or both.
Yeah, we'd be happy to speak.
Yeah, and once again, if you signed in and I call you, and if you don't want to speak, that's perfectly fine. And also too, you can also be as brief as saying that you're against it, or you're for it, or, you don't have to go into a long
Do I have to share
dissertation
this
as a
with you?
resident.
Can you sit down?
Just the fact that you're here is plenty. So,
If you could state your name.
Yeah, my
please.
name's Richard Rogus, and this is my wife Patricia,
Thank you.
and she's here to kind of hold me back, because the more I hear of this, the angrier and angrier I get, so I'll try to stay calm. First of all, we bought our homes in good faith, and we trust each of you to do what's right for the community. I mean, that's why we bought our homes. We live in one of the nicest areas of Monroeville right now, maybe one of the nicest areas in all of eastern Pittsburgh. And it's nice because it's single-family homes. There are single-family homes within a 2-mile circle of this little spot that is the subject of tonight. Single-family homes are great for the community. There are people raising their families, they're going to church, they're going to school. They grow up like all of you and all of us grew up that way. And that's the way it should be. I mean, for the past 40 years, the development has been really, really good. I mean, you look at Meadowdale, you look at the Maple Crest plan of homes. It's good. You should be congratulated for that very good planning. It's been very good planning, and I've watched it grow and develop, and it has been very good planning. It's single-family residences. It's focused on the family. And to come in here and to spot zone something like that with a development that is totally out of character, totally out of place with the rest of the community, it's just not right. It is not fair. High density brings high of a lot of other things. It brings high congestion. It brings high pollution. It brings high dust. It brings high noise. It brings higher rates of accidents. It brings safety issues. It brings flooding. It brings potentially mine subsidence. High density is high a lot of problems that none of us want, and you don't want them either. You really don't. And if you do vote for high density, I can give you some examples of things that I can foresee down the line with high density. Number one, there's pedestrians that walk along that Logan's Ferry Road. Someone's going to get hit. Believe me, someone will get hit with 200 more cars, and that's going to be on the shoulders of the high-density vote. There's going to be a collision, and there's been a lot of other collisions down there at Center Road and Logan's Ferry. There's been a lot of collisions down there. Someone's going to get hurt, and some young family might get hurt very seriously. God forbid. But there's going to be, I can almost guarantee, there's going to be more problems. There are homes on Willow Hedge Drive that have been flooded. That area up there in the summertime, in the spring, it becomes like marshland. I mean, it's not as bad as the Everglades, but it's marshland. And you know, because you've been here with other people, there's been floods, and there's floods down below, there's floods on all sides. I can pretty much assure you that when those trees are taken down, there's going to be flooding. There's going to be flooding, and people are going to be ripping the carpets. They're going to be taking their computers out, and they're going to be throwing them all away because there's going to be flooding. Right? There's mine subsidence. That area is on a mine subsidence area. It's a high-risk mine subsidence. We pull the maps. All right? There's a chance that a high-density vote could result in mine damage and mine subsidence to these homes. And I guess lastly, you know, I'd appeal to Dr. Greshock, because your background is in health. And I mean, high-density home on a high development, there's dust. All right, there's going to be dust with any development, I understand, but there's dust. That area is on a high elevated hill. That dust that contains metal and wood and toxins is going to float. It will float down. And there are people on my street that have really bad heart problems. They have COPD, they have asthma, they have allergies. My wife has to take shots for her allergies. All right, I have a heart issue myself. So now we're breathing in this dust. God forbid during this COVID year that we bring in dust and it affects our lungs. So all I can say is that your vote for that involves a lot of risks. And you need to ask, is it worth it? Is it really worth those risks? Or is it better to zone that land consistent with the great planning that's happened over the past 40 years? Single family units, single family. The family, environmentally friendly, family friendly. We bought those homes in good faith. Everyone's bought those homes in good faith, and we trust you. We've trusted you for 40 years, and we trust you again to make the right decision on that. I don't think any of us would object to bringing in single family homes similar to the Maple Crest development. And that would complete 40 years of really excellent and outstanding development. It would make that community that we all live in one of the finest in all the eastern suburbs. And we trust in your judgment there. We really do. I don't know if I think some of the others feel this way, but we're trusting you to make that right decision for the families and for the environments of the communities.
Understood. Thank you. Patty, is there something you want to add, or you just,
No, I do want
you
to add
agree?
one more thing. I
Sure.
wasn't going to speak, but in terms of the comments from the gentleman that was up here earlier, that they don't have plans to develop the entire land. They're only going to develop 7.5 acres of a large development and sell off the rest. Well, our concern is if once that's zoned R4, there could be multiple buildings put on that land, 5, 6, 7, who knows, with that much acreage. It's open to doing many, many things on that land. The other area is the airport road. If they're not keeping that airport road and they're selling that off, and they sell that off initially to another buyer, then our property is adjacent to the airport road, along with many of the other people behind us. And they sell that parcel off. They're no longer an adjacent property to us for all the rights we would have if we needed to sue them, because they could sell that parcel off. Then they're not adjacent to us for any liabilities for mine damage or flooding or anything else, because according to the ordinance, they're no longer considered adjacent. So that's a question I'm raising as well. So if they choose to sell that off, where are our rights?
And there will be, when those trees are taken down, I can guarantee there will be water problems.
We get water now when it rains. I've taken pictures of it from the airport property now, because the way the road is, it's curved down, it starts down, then there's a bottom, and then it starts up. That's basically right between our home and the neighbor's home to us. So we spent about $4,000 this summer putting in a lot of French drains, because we got flooded last year. And we don't want to have it happen again.
Yeah, and of all
We
the
put a new addition in 5 years ago, and it got flooded.
of all the 58 acres, where's the 10 acres of development? Sandwiched right into, as close as possible to these homes here. It's really, folks, we're trusting some good judgment on your part. We really do trust your better
Your
judgment.
points are well taken. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Linda and Matt Valentine. Welcome. Linda, for once, you're going to agree with what he says.
Doesn't happen very often.
It's recorded too, so, no, but yeah, we understand. So yeah, once again, as we get through, as people get their turn to speak, the initial people are going to bring up probably the same points that you're going to bring up. You don't need to keep repeating points. Yes, you're welcome to, but just maybe the fact that you're here in opposition, or even if you get up and just say who you are, state your name for the record, and then say you agree with what everybody just said, just so we can kind of keep the meeting moving along. But welcome.
Yeah, I'm Matt Valentine. I live at 300 Willowhedge, which is right on the corner. I don't know if you want to show it, but it's right on the corner of
You're the first house.
Ferry. First house.
Okay, Matt.
So I get to experience all the traffic that's coming down Logan's Ferry. I would love to see the traffic study that's been done. I'm curious as to if we really understand what traffic is resulting from just a Maple Crest plan that's just going in right now. I mean, we haven't experienced all the traffic that we're going to see that results just from that plan, let alone the additional 122 units from this building. I do have one question that I'd like to ask. In any of your developments, have you put up more than one building?
No, we have not.
I'm just curious, because
Yeah.
whether it's your plan, I mean, whether you guys develop this, our concern, and Rich alluded to that, is there could be 3 or 4 more plans just like that, each one containing another 120 units. And, your study looks at just, what you guys are going to generate, plus the Maple Crest plan, but what about all the stuff that could come from that? So that's a big concern for me. The stop sign, the intersection that's right at Willowhedge and Logan's Ferry is, I hate to say it, it's almost a joke. People barely stop at that stop sign. I don't know if the police ever are there to I mean, probably half my neighbors, but anyway, but it is a concern. And Dawn is here too, who lives right across the street on the other side of Willowhedge, and we experience it every day, people running those stop signs. And it's just, your traffic study may say one thing, but an additional 100 cars is going to cause a lot of issues there. And the road itself needs major improvements. If people, we try to walk that road just to get to Evergreen Park, to walk the dog, and just going along there, you're dodging cars all the time. So traffic is one of my major concerns. My second major concern is just the privacy. I mean, the land is at 1185 there. We're at about 1160. It already sits 25 feet above where we sit. So, I mean, you put a 30 to 40-foot building there, you know, they're gonna be looking right in our windows. I mean, or probably, you know, just from ground level for the most part. So that's a concern. I mean, that's another thing that has me a little bit worked up. You know, the spot zoning, you know, it is what it is. We love the area that we live in. We know it's R1. I understand that the development is not necessarily being discussed tonight, but it's hard to say if we go to R4 and not talk about the development, because it's absolutely related. So if we were saying that we want to rezone this to R1 or R2, I don't think anybody would be here. I think it's not a concern. It's these buildings, and it's the potential for 5 or 6 additional buildings that look just like this to be built. And the airport road would run right behind my house. That, you know, we're the first 2 houses. Rich's is the 3rd house. And, you know, that's going to be a major discussion when we get to planning. I mean, I would love it if this goes through, which I pray it doesn't, that the entrance is on the other side. I mean, we could talk about that at a later date, but those are my big issues. And then I have a little bit of knowledge about the mine subsidence, the construction of the building, and, you know, if it was on caissons so that we could alleviate any potential subsidence issues, you know, possibly that's what's gonna happen.
We've had 2 other sites in Pittsburgh, Robinson and Hempfield, that both had mines under them, and we ended up grout filling.
Okay.
So we're kind of anticipating that. We haven't done the geotech report, but absolutely, we understand what's here, and we will do that, so.
Can I ask a question? Just generally, since, you know, I think you guys are all kind of thinking the exact same way. If this project was in a different location on that piece of property, like way over here,
like you're
and then
talking
it
about
wasn't
back in
looking
here?
directly down on your houses, like, as you said,
it
would you,
goes-
would you guys be as opposed to the project?
I think that, you
Okay,
know,
I
we're
just,
still-
I'm just wondering.
the traffic issue, that doesn't alleviate the traffic issue.
Well, I know, but
Is-
you could, if someone could actually put an office park in there, that wouldn't help either, and that's what it's zoned for.
Right.
They could do
But
that today.
that's why I'm just
Right.
asking if it wasn't, I know one of the concerns that I've read through a lot of it looking down on your houses, and
Yeah.
so I'm just wondering if it was moved.
Yeah, I
Would
mean,
that help
it
or
may
not?
help. I mean, I mean, you could see,
I will say it's about 175 feet from the nearest house.
Yeah.
From the closest point on the building. I mean, the bulk of the building's
Okay.
200.
and I
or so.
mean, and if it does go through, I mean, obviously, we could talk about buffers, we could talk about, you know, some
Right,
kind of.
right.
But.
I just wondered, because when you said the elevations and stuff, it brought into my mind some of the comments that I had read in a lot of the emails, you know, and that was
There's
certainly one of them.
another question I had, and I don't know whether this, I mean, there is access roads back from Garden City. And I don't know whether that allows for a secondary entrance through Garden City. I don't know if anybody's talked about that. I mean, if this is the main and only entrance into this plan, it could be, you know, Logan's Ferry could be overwhelmed very easily. I mean, if there's a secondary entrance coming in back over here off of,
There could be,
Laurel,
potential
you
for
know,
that.
again, so,
Coming off
those
the-
are my concerns.
Very good.
I hope you
Okay.
take them into
Thank you.
consideration. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Suzanne Kromka?
There's no way Garden City's gonna allow an entrance into it.
I need to swear in, 'cause I didn't stand up. Okay, go ahead.
That's fine. Thank you. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Thank you. So, if you just state your name for the record, please.
Suzanne Kromka.
Thank you.
So we've lived on Willow Hedge for about 22 years. And my husband Joe and I did write up a letter, send it to email. Hopefully everybody had a chance to read them. Our biggest concern, and I don't know how many of you travel on Logan's Ferry Road every day. Every day, every day. And have to cross the Logan's Ferry Center Road intersection every day and every day. And for a family that has kids and they've all learned to drive, that's when I get my greatest prayer time in. The first time they head out on the car, with their car, and I know, oh dear Lord, they're gonna have to cross Center Road, okay? We are very concerned about the increase in number of vehicles. The Maple Crest development is just beginning. That's over 100 homes there, all of them with a 2-car garage, of course. So you're looking at adding a couple more 100 cars that are going to be traveling. Logan's Ferry Road is so narrow. Of course, there's no sidewalks. There's not even a berm. And there's a lot of pedestrians that walk along Logan Ferry Road. A lot. Runners, bike riders, moms with strollers. It is. It's like a death trap sometimes. Kids waiting for the school bus, running around playing at the stop signs. the school buses stop along Logan Ferry. The potential increase in the traffic is of great concern. And we live in the suburbs because we didn't want to live in the city. And it's like we're turning our little area of Monroeville into a very densely populated, congested area. When I looked at the zoning map through Monroeville, all of these other areas have green conservancy space around the neighborhoods, which is great. And I looked at our section, like, well, where's the conservancy? There's one little area around Garden City, which is completely disconnected from the Logan Ferry Road development. Perhaps we could think about, we're all concerned about the environment. Perhaps we could think about having a conservancy area. I know it might not bring in tax money, but it would certainly help the area. It would certainly, those of us that live there, we wouldn't be in such fear of the traffic. You guys all know from accident logs how many accidents every year are at the Center Road Logan Ferry intersection. And in the 22 years that we've lived there, there has been never, ever an adjustment made to that area. Never a reduction in the speed limit on Center Road, never a blinker put in. So for us living there, there's one very, very narrow area, and you might be familiar with it, from the Evergreen Park playground that comes out, and there's a paved trail. That's the only green area that we have on all of the developments off of Logan Ferry Road. And that gets used a lot, every day. I walk it every day, but I take my life in my hands from Willow Hedge to the start of that trail, whether I'm gonna get hit by a car. For somebody that flies through the stop sign at Valentine's house, heading to the parkway to head into town for work, and is looking at their cell phone. So, that's our biggest concern. Nothing against your development. I'm sure it's great, and, we're all for that. But in that location, to put something like that deep in the middle of a very, very congested area of Monroeville to begin with, when I looked at the zoning map, all of the other R4 zoned areas all seemed to be located very close to major roadways with very direct access to main arteries. That's where they should be, not tucked in the middle of a very congested, single-family dwelling neighborhood. We have a lot of other issues we included in our letter. Rich and Matt spoke on some of them with regards to the mine subsidence and the flooding, all of those sorts of things, But, I think when my husband pulled up the zoning rules in Monroeville and, what the Monroeville community was supposed to be created to be and why we have a zoning board, I thought, this plan doesn't seem to go along with that. This rezoning doesn't go along with that. So our appeal to you is really that it does not get rezoned to R4. I think this would be a disaster. It would really lend to a very dangerous situation for all of us that live there now and are very happy there. So thanks for considering it.
Doug and Katie Fisher.
Sit down.
Yeah, please, yeah, sorry.
I need to be sworn.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. State your name for the record.
My name is Doug Fisher, and my wife Katie is here too. We live on Willow Hedge Drive. Basically, I'd just like to say I echo all the comments that have been said so far. The safety on Logan Ferry is key, and I wonder if the traffic study even looked at the intersection with Center Road and Logan's Ferry, because I know that is a horrible intersection. I'd just like to point out to everybody that doesn't know it, that speed humps were put on Logan's Ferry years ago. So Monroeville basically said it was an unsafe road, and that was even before Maple Crest was a dream of somebody. So I just want to echo everybody else's thoughts and say I'm opposed. Thank you.
Pete Colangelo. Welcome, Pete. Can you just state your name for the record, please?
Yeah, Pete Colangelo. I live in Meadowdale, and I would like, first I'd like to ask, how many other people here from Meadowdale, if you'd raise your hand? So one other person, and that's my first objection. And I'm going to read, I'm going to hand a copy of this letter to you when I'm complete here.
Okay.
But this is to inform you that we and others from the Meadowdale plan, there's approximately 80 houses there, are opposed to the proposed plan to rezone the property located at 3926 Logan Ferry Road from R2 to R4. First, we'd like to know why we, the residents of Meadowdale, were not invited to attend tonight's public meeting, especially since I called to complain about this the first time you scheduled your first meeting on the subject on January 12th. The first public hearing was finally canceled because of the concerns for the coronavirus. We're surprised then and again now as to why you want to reconduct a public hearing unless you figured there would be low attendance because of concerns for the virus and thus avoiding any potential opposition to the adjacent to the subject zoning. And also, I think it's a terrible time to have a public meeting in the middle of winter, and I had to shovel to get out of the driveway tonight. But also, with my 43 years of experience of conducting public meetings for federal, state, and local agencies, we were always did our best to notify the public about our proposed public meetings. To that point, why wasn't a public hearing put in the times expressed? If it was, I apologize, but I didn't see it in there. I believe we, the residents of Meadowdale, should have been invited to this hearing because of our concerns that this rezoning proposal will have negative impacts in two ways: traffic congestion and safety. Therefore, unless all the residents of Meadowdale are here that want to be here, and actually there's only one other person here, then this meeting is not a fair and complete hearing. Also, I wonder where the few new residents at the Maple Crest, were they invited to attend this hearing? And how about the future home owners of the Maple Crest development? My personal concerns are that the proposed rezoning will undoubtedly cause tremendous traffic problems, which will be compounded with the existing Ryan development, home development for 122 houses that are under construction at the Maple Crest site on Logan's Ferry Road. I estimated that the two new housing developments will provide an additional 210 cars traveling on Logan's Ferry Road. And there's probably several homes that are going to have 2 cars like on our street. So I can think, we estimate that there's going to be a lot of traffic problems and accidents, especially at Logan's Ferry and Center Road, as well at Old Frankstown Road and Logan's Ferry. And I think we need a traffic study to be conducted on that. I have another safety concern. It involves water. It's my concern for someone and their family drowning while in their car as they drive through a flooded area at the intersection of Logan Ferry Road and Leaside Drive. This is not a wild and crazy concern because, as you all know, it nearly happened almost 2 years ago when a young lady's car slid off the Logan's Ferry flooded road into the creek adjacent to the road. She had to be rescued from the top of her car in the flooded creek by the Monroeville Fire Department with their fire truck and ladder. After that near tragedy, Monroeville installed 2 yellow warning signs, road may flood. Now that's amazing. In fact, I walked from my house and I made sure those signs were still there, and they are. And this was done before the start of the Maple Crest housing plan. So just think of all the traditional runoff floodwaters that will flow over the hills from the hardened surfaces. Not only the fact of removing the trees, when you develop an area, you actually create hardened surfaces with buildings, paving, and so on. That creates more runoff. And the pros, and that'll definitely cause more flooding down at the intersection of Lee Side and Logan's Ferry Road. I'm sure the municipality of Monroeville is looking at this Clover Community Housing Project as a source of revenues, and that's understandable. That would generate, the funds that would generate from the taxes placed on the building that would be constructed. However, this would not be in the best interest of the adjoining and nearby neighborhoods. I think this 57-acre site should not be developed for housing of any kind, but I think the municipality should purchase the property and develop it as a community park for our families in the ward. And in closing, we appreciate the opportunity to present our concerns for this project, but we cannot support it, and we're totally against it. But thank you for the opportunity.
Pete, did you want to hand me that?
Yeah, I'll get another.
Yeah. Just if you can hand it in, then we'll put it into the record. Scott and Heather Lewis.
Sir,
Sir.
sir, give it to me. Sir.
I got it.
Thank you. Perfect. I
If
appreciate
you would,
that very
please.
much.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Thanks.
Yes. Thank you. Can you state your name for the record?
My name's Heather Lewis.
Scott Lewis.
Scott Lewis.
And you're residents of Monroeville, we know
I'm
that.
sorry, your name is Heather
Heather Lewis.
Lewis. Thank you.
You guys, lower your mouths. There, can I hear you better? So.
We're here just to say that we strongly oppose this development. I've written letters, my husband's written letters. We agree with our neighbors. I would like, and I don't know if this is the time or place, clarification of the right-of-way, which is directly against my property.
Yeah, I emailed you back about that.
Okay.
We're still
You're gonna look
exploring,
into that?
There's
Yeah.
a lot of searching for that, but yes, I was working on that today, actually.
Okay.
So I'll be in touch with you.
Okay, yeah, and I'm even more concerned now that the person who's interested in building this building has actually stated that they plan on selling off the rest of the property. We all knew that one apartment building probably wasn't going to be the case as it is, but I kind of figured maybe the same developer would develop more. But they're actually stating that they're going to rezone the whole property and then sell it. That's really concerning because we don't know what the plan is and what's moving forward, and there's a lot of land there. I think the residents of Garden City would be interested as well to know what's happening there, especially mentioning that there's other ways into the property from roads in Garden City. Quince, Blueberry is all right up against the end of that property. Yeah, Dahlia, Hazelnut, and I think they should get a fair chance to say what they think about that property as well being rezoned.
They sell the same advertisements.
Yeah, so
Everyone's been
that
invited.
is another question I had at the beginning of all this, prior to the last meeting that was canceled, is that they didn't, on Hazelnut Drive, I'm sure of, I took around flyers to Garden City to show people, and there's nobody on Hazelnut that was on Quince and Blueberry that knew anything about it.
Well, we didn't-
They didn't get the letter, maybe residents of Willow Hedge
Only
did.
300 feet from the site.
Right, but then the future development of this property would affect them, and so then does the rezoning of it. I think it would be fair, as Monroeville Council, to let them know that there's plans to do something with that property as well.
Was it not advertised for everyone to know that the property was being looked at to be rezoned? It was not just
Yeah, it was
a small amount of people,
So if you put a small square in the bottom of the Times Express page somewhere, I think we have we have more responsibility to the residents that support you guys and that you are supposed to support, to let people know in a better way, like the letter we received on Willow Hedge. Your 300 feet rule or whatever, great, but that's a big piece of land that borders a lot of property. And I think it would be only fair to let those residents know as well.
Sure, but every public meeting is advertised. Council meets the second Tuesday of every month.
Right.
I
know.
It's on our website, it's on, our Facebook pages. We do publicly advertise it as far as we have to by law. As far as sending out letters, there's certain things we have to follow as far as zoning laws go. But as far as sending out letters for every meeting, for every item, we don't get into that. Yes, some items are bigger than others, of course, and this one is, but
It's a big one,
it's
yeah.
definitely we advertise this meeting, and, we hope that people are paying attention, that there's council meetings, and engaged citizens are looking into what is happening at these meetings. And that's what every community does across America, actually.
Right, and I think that COVID added a whole new element to all of this that,
Yeah, and that's
people
why we
maybe
wanted to
weren't.
really get away from that January meeting and really table to at least move it to this forum, just to buy more time, to allow more of interaction with the residents. That's one of the main reasons.
Okay.
So, but at any rate, we understand your concerns.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Ray and Lois Weaver. So if you just state your name for the record, please.
Ray Weaver.
Welcome.
I'm Lois's husband.
Lois is husband.
She's more known around town than I am.
It's a good thing you had that.
I agree with all the stuff that everybody was saying. You mentioned the 300-foot rule. We live in a cul-de-sac with 3 homes. We got it, Richmond's got the notice. Hudax did not, because they're on the farthest end of the cul-de-sac. They're probably 320 feet from the property. But why wouldn't they just notice everybody on the street? We're all the same, in the same boat. The other item, forget the exact numbers, but he said that the center would add 250 cars to Logan's Ferry Road. Is that about right? I don't know what your exact number was.
On the traffic,
Yes.
AM peak hour was 24 cars, PM peak hour was 32 cars. Total for the day, 466.
Okay. And how many units would be in your development?
122.
122, double that, 244 per day. All right, thank you. If we zoned that whole 60 acres or 59 acres, whatever it was, R2, figure quarter acre lots, that's the subtracting streets and so on, you should have roughly 200 homes on that area.
Well,
And-
topography too, we gotta take into account.
Well, yeah, all that stuff. I'm being very generous with the number of cars. So 200 homes, 2 cars per day, or 2 cars per home, would be about 400 cars. All right. Now, if you put one of those buildings up, that's fine, that's 250 cars per day or whatever. But then, how many of those kind of buildings can you put on that 50 acres? And once you zone it R4, there isn't much you can do to tell somebody they can't build. You have to stop that right now. And the streets just aren't big enough to handle that. And I happen to be a living survivor of the Logan's Ferry Center Road casualty. I survived it, as my son did 30 years prior, and some of the other neighbors as well. But otherwise, the purpose of zoning is to look for the long-time benefit of the community, not the short time to pay your bills today. You know, you have to look at the long term. I remember when I moved in 77, I've been there a long time, there was a lot of hullabaloo about the zoning board constantly rezoning things. You know, it's conservancy, and then all of a sudden somebody wants to build something. All right, well, variances were going out the door left and right. Lately, that hasn't been the case, to your benefit. So I would hope you would continue that, as Rich said. You've zoned R2 the whole way around the area. Why put a cancer right in the middle of that area? You know, if we wanted to live in a high-density area, we'd have bought our home in East Liberty or someplace like that, down in the Strip. So, whatever, I concur with what everybody else has been saying.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jason Sonnenfeld?
Do you have a mask somewhere? There it is.
He's for the fire department. He's here for the fire department.
Is Jason here?
He was.
I saw him.
Well, we can come back to him. So, Darla Beener.
Yeah, I'll save my comment for the end if I have any.
Okay.
Thank you.
And for the listening audience, Darla's going to hold her comments until the end if she needs to. John. John Beener?
I'm good.
Same thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Brian, I'm sorry for the handwriting that I can't, as Soika?
Very good.
Soika. I got it.
I'm here for something else.
You're here for something else? Okay.
Sheets.
Got it. Oh, I see it now. Thank you, Brian. We'll get back to you.
We should have taken him first so he could have left.
Don Wilcox.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Sir, if you state your name for the record, please.
My name's Don Wilcox. I live at 301 Willow Hedge Drive. Ron knows where I live at.
I do.
And I'm here just to basically agree with everybody, what everybody has said. I just want you people to know that I've carried people into my house that was in an accident a day like today because they had to lay in the snow or I had to carry them in the house. I physically carried them in because of the accident there on Logan's Ferry and Willow Hedge. I sit in my living room, and if you want to send one of the policemen out, you can sit in my living room and watch them run the stop sign. They don't even have to get cold. Snap a picture, get the license plate number. The trucks that they're sending up and down Logan's Ferry got a 5-ton load limit on it. Do you realize a school bus is over 5 ton? They're sending cement trucks, trucks loaded with material and et cetera. They don't stop for the stop sign. They'll slow down, but they'll go right through it. And if somebody pulls out, they're done. I mean, this is a serious problem. And I've lived there for 40 years. Ron can verify. And it's not something that's going to go away. That road's narrow. You keep adding stuff to it. It's sort of like the planning committee saying they approved it. They also approved Willow Hedge. And all the houses are getting, there was 2 or 3 places they said were water areas you couldn't build in. Guess what? They built them, and these people were getting flooded. Now I'm getting a tax because they didn't plan well. I'm saying to you, please plan a little better on what they did for the water runoff. It's going to be the same way. The taxes are going to be someone getting hurt. There's no other way to say it. And we've already had this conversation before when they tried to develop that property before with multiple houses. It's just not going to work. There's going to be too much traffic. I mean, tonight, just coming here, from the time I pulled out of my driveway and drove down to Center, I passed 14 cars. I counted them. And that was at 6:45. The rest of my case, gentlemen.
Thanks, Ron. Michael Pappen?
I'm here for another item. Mitchell.
Mitchell, sorry. Sorry, Mitchell. Jason and Heidi Beam.
Good evening. My name is Heidi Beam. My name is Heidi Beam.
Thank you.
I'm opposed to the rezoning, but I want to thank you first for tabling this last month so that we could come and we could speak in person. It's very important to us. The biggest issue that I and most of my neighbors have is that the R4 zoning does not fit in any of the areas around the airport. As you can see on the zoning map, everything around the airport are R2. R4 allows multi-story, multi-family buildings in the middle of the quiet, single-family neighborhoods. That'll change the essential character of the land. This brings up zoning issues of essential character and spot zoning. Please vote no for this reason. Another zoning issue is the location to the neighborhoods. The airport property is raised up above the surrounding areas, so anything built there will be towering above the single-family houses. The proposed development is very close and high above the houses that are bordering the property. Anything over 2 stories will stand out and not fit into the region. The Willow Hedge residents will lose their privacy that they currently have. This brings up zoning issues of towering heights. Please vote no to rezoning because of this. Access to the site is also an issue. Per the Monroeville zoning ordinance, the safe access should not cause undue congestion or hazard to the local streets. The airport location is not close to any major streets or public areas. It is surrounded by neighborhoods. So therefore, people would have to drive down Logan's Ferry Road to get to the main area of Monroeville. Logan's Ferry will not be able to sustain the increase in traffic, and it will cause the already dangerous intersection of Center and Logan's Ferry to be more congested, causing more accidents. The full impact of the Maple Crest houses, 120 of them, is not fully known, and now you want to add multifamily homes on 57 acres. This brings up issues in opposition to your zoning ordinance. Please vote no to rezone because of this. If the airport ends up being zoned anything besides R2, there should be a transition zoning district to add a step between the single-family houses to the denser R4 zone. These zones do not relate to each other, and the transition zone is needed at the very least. This brings up transition zones, use zones. Please vote no to rezoning because of this. Flooding is a very real issue, no matter how the airport is developed. Monroeville introduced a stormwater management and flood reduction fee a few years ago. Building houses, apartment buildings, or parking lots on what is now green space is only going to require a higher fee in the future. All Monroeville residents that are against that $120 annual fee should fight the development of the old airport green space. This brings up flooding issues and property damage. Please vote no to rezoning because of this. The financial struggles of Monroeville should not be a reason to degrade our future by drastic rezoning. We are all counting on you to vote against the rezoning of the airport property because it does not fit into our region now, nor will it fit in the future. Thank you for your time.
And that is everyone that has signed in so far. I'm going to go back to Darla and John.
I signed in.
And your name, sorry?
Come on up. If you, oh, you know what?
Jacobson?
Yeah, I skipped over you. Sorry. So, to be honest, yes, Jim
Honest
Jacobson.
mistake.
Sorry, you did sign in.
I agree with much that was previously said. I'm against the rezoning, and particularly because this is a spot rezoning. And I've got a question. Whatever happened to this is going back a lot of years, the comprehensive plan of Monroeville? I remember that very well, and the whole intent of that was to have a plan for the future, looking 20, 30 years ahead, and looking at the zoning, and not to have this type of spot zoning. So is that still, whatever happened to that comprehensive plan? Does that ring a bell?
Well, there is a.
This is
the one
going,
you're
it's probably
referring-
going back to the, I don't know, 80s or 90s.
I mean, yeah, that was an outdated one
yeah,
at this
yeah,
point.
yeah.
We have a more recent one, a joint comprehensive plan, which was completed, Mr. Little, 2 years ago.
Yeah, correct. We completed a joint comprehensive plan with Wilkins Township and Churchill Borough. there wasn't a lot of looking at rezoning different districts and things of that nature. But it was kind of what is called an implementable comprehensive plan, because a lot of comprehensive plans, they can get to be a little bit of a pie in the sky, so we tried to go to a more of a nuts and bolts type of comprehensive plan.
But to your point, yes, the older one that you're referring to.
Yeah, but the general concept, at least one of the points behind it was not to do kind of spot zoning, but to look at the plan, look at communities, and not just because some developer or something comes up to, let's change something. For instance, about, I don't know, this was 20, 25 years ago, I came to a council meeting when there was a lot adjacent, close to my house, that wanted to go commercial, and R2 neighborhood, and I fought against that, and it was stopped. Because it didn't make any sense. They wanted to put a convenience store and concerned about the noise and stuff. But this is kind of something similar in terms of a change of the neighborhood from an R2 areas everybody was talking about to go into R4, and they're concerned with about close to 60 acres, and how many 3-story apartment complexes could fill up those 60 acres. And a question on the conditional use. So you can go to a larger apartment buildings with conditional, or what's possible with this R4? When that was, can it go to apartments that are more than 3 stories?
No, the maximum in an R4, the maximum height is 35 feet. And that is
Okay.
That is permitted or conditional.
Okay, so
And
that's the max height regardless.
35 feet is
Okay.
the max height.
Okay.
And then currently in L,
I think he said 45 feet, so it's actually 45.
yeah, currently as it's zoned, currently you can go
L.
45
Okay.
feet,
Yes.
45-foot height.
Yes, so this.
And that's
would be
both
10
Okay.
special,
Although it's different, I mean,
Yes.
you could have a nursing home, as you said, it could be
Yes.
45 feet under the current zoning, but
Correct.
you could do 3-floor apartment buildings.
But only get 35.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I won't repeat everything that was previously said. A lot of those were points I was going to make as well, so I just want to say I oppose the rezoning.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, let me just double check my list very closely here.
We could probably just ask, is there anyone else that wants to
Well, I just
speak
want to
on
make
it?
sure if there's someone signed in first, and then I'm going to keep coming back to you, Darla and John. And you can certainly just say that you agree with everybody, or.
Oh, I agree with everybody. I just have
So
a
if you
couple
could just state your name
questions.
for the record,
Oh, Darla
please, yes.
Boehner.
Welcome.
Hi. I'm gonna take my glasses off here.
John.
Okay, so, what's that? Oh,
Yes.
all right.
Thank you.
So I was just curious, when the traffic study was done?
We submitted in November, so it would have been in November we did.
During COVID, when everybody was working from home?
Yeah, so it was a study on what could be built today and what could be built, and what could
No,
be built under the
he
R4.
he either has to come up here or you
Yeah,
have to address the mayor.
Yeah,
Sorry.
the mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay.
Jack.
I was talking to him.
Yeah, I know.
Understand.
Yeah, so it was a traffic study to compare what could be built there today under the L zone, say an office park, versus what could be built under the R4 zoning. So it wasn't counting cars per se, it was projecting what could be built under the two zoning scenarios.
Okay,
Does that
so
make
if,
sense?
so if you did the,
We didn't count any traffic on Logan's Ferry Road. It was
Oh,
based on the
okay.
use, what could be generated from the site.
oh, okay.
The additional load.
Yes, whether it's office out of an L district or residential.
Okay, so not necessarily, okay, that's what I was confused about.
Yeah, no, so it
Okay.
wasn't counts during COVID, right?
Okay. Then my other question is, sorry, I have it.
Somebody's getting notes off her phone.
My lawyer told me to do this. So the street that is behind my house, I live on the second street on the right where you're gonna plan on putting the,
On Willow Hedge?
on Willow Hedge, yeah.
Okay,
So my house is right here.
okay.
There's the road you wanna put. So is there something about putting 2 main roads? So technically, our homes are gonna have 2 front yards. So does there not need to be enough space? And I know that somebody sent emails out about having other places in Monroeville that have 2 roads that butt, but they were what I thought were alleys. So is there something in an ordinance or anything stating that you can't really
I have two frontages.
2 frontages of my home?
Well, that's a question for us. That's a question for
Yeah,
staff.
he would
Sorry.
know that.
I might defer to
Oh, okay.
Paul on that one.
You would not have 2 front yards.
So if there's 2 main streets, that's not
The
considered,
street or the private drive, I don't know which would be there. I'm assuming it'd be a private driveway.
We don't know that yet. It could very
I
well be a
would think
pub.
it would be. I wouldn't think Monroeville would want to maintain it for you. But the point is, either way, it would not cause you to have 2 front yards.
okay. And so, and then, Dr. Griesbach, you were gonna look into the paper street or the right-of-way that butts our house, because technically,
Yeah,
There's-
yes, I was talking with Mr. Wheelan about that today. We're going back to the 1970s to look at the original plan. So, yeah, we're looking at that because there was some confusion on, there was originally a 20-foot right-of-way, then a 10-foot right-of-way. So there was originally 20, it got reduced, so given back to the residents that extra 10 feet. So what we need to do is dig into that more administratively, and then ultimately, obviously, the site has been surveyed.
Surveyed, right.
But I'm not sure if there are pins put in or stakes put in yet.
They don't show the right of way for sure.
But do the stakes run along their homes currently?
No, they would just be corners that were.
So that's something
Yeah.
we're gonna look into that. Maybe we,
It appears there is a 10-foot that hangs over onto the back of those properties.
because I know I own part of the airport road that is there now.
Yeah, and the road kind
And
of
then
goes
after-
back and forth across it. Yeah, we
Yeah.
would stay off of that. We would not be in that 10-foot area that's a right of way in your backyard.
But then you can be 11 feet.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so then we're gonna have all these cars. I mean, you're looking to put the main entrance right in our backyard. That's,
Yes, that comes off Logan Ferry, yes.
yeah, okay. So,
Especially not only that, but the
10
entrance
feet
to
from where
the,
my swimming pool is, and,
I mean, the entrance to the actual complex is right between mine and Matt's house. If you look at that, it's gonna be, every time somebody pulls out of their house to go to Logan's Ferry, we're gonna be hearing all that too. I mean, it's literally right behind our house. That's our biggest thing.
the driveway you're proposing is it overlays the existing airport road at that point?
Like I said before, it would be off of that road. That road is only 10 feet wide. And like they say, some of it does kind of go onto their property. It would be in that general location, but we would not physically be right on top of that road. We would shift it further away from them.
But to your question about the right of way, internally, we wanna look at this
Okay.
as well.
Yeah.
all right, okay. I'm gonna stop there, thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just say one more thing?
Yes.
So effectively, my house is
One
gonna be
second. Yeah, so
surrounded,
Matt-
it's Matt Valentine again, yeah.
Thank you.
So effectively, my house will be surrounded on 3 sides, Willow Hedge, Logan's Ferry, and then this new entrance, which is obviously concerning. One thing that I didn't bring up earlier too, and I think I read it somewhere in the code, is when we're looking at new developments or rezoning, what does that do to property values of your home? Is it either enhance them or does it degrade them? And I guess that's a question for you all to understand. I mean, is this gonna make our houses more, desirable or not? I think it's probably not, just because of the volume of traffic on the road and just, especially mine, where, if the main entrance is right there, who's gonna wanna have to deal with that? So.
Understood. Is there anyone that has not signed in that would like to add comments? If the residents that have not signed in, is there anyone else? Okay, I'll allow this, but I would prefer not to, everybody keep coming up, back up again. We certainly understand everyone's opposition to it, absolutely. But certainly, if you want to add one more thing.
My name's Don Wilcox. I live at 301 Willow Hedge, but I used to walk my dog up here at the airport. Standing, not 45 feet in the air, standing, I could look down into these yards. I can look down into Matt's house, I can look down, just walking the dog. Put me 45 feet in the air, I'll be able to see everything. Rest my case.
Watch yourself, Matt.
Understood. And once again, is there anyone that hasn't signed or hasn't got a chance to say anything? Is there anyone that's here that would like to add anything? Certainly, if you didn't speak, we certainly understand, you're here out this evening. I think most people got up, or at least a representative from the couples definitely got up, and we appreciate you adding your input. Council, any questions at this time? Mr. Williams?
Have a recess.
Yes, we are going to get to recess after but I want to get
Yeah,
through
just get through this
the
first.
public hearing. That's very good.
Yeah.
Bob, please, thank you. Mr. Jack, so if do you have anything else to add to the public hearing part of this? Whether it's something you want to add
I would
or
just
any
make
kind
one
of
comment about
responses?
the comprehensive plan does identify senior housing as kind of a use or a promoted use, specifically with respect to redevelopment sites. I know it's multi-municipal, so maybe it doesn't apply to, whether it's Churchill or Wilkins, but in section, I think it's 6.6 on the redevelopment, it does identify senior housing as a need for the community and something to look at for redevelopment sites. And, yeah, I think that's it. I mean, as we've stated, with the L zoning, offices could be developed. I will say of the 58 acres, there's maybe 20 plus or minus that are developable. The balance is steep slopes that probably not much could happen on. But, yeah, as it stands today, certainly an office park could come in there or another undesirable use as well, so.
Can I ask you one question?
Yeah.
Or is the purchase of the property contingent on the zoning, or do you already own the property?
No, it's contingent on
Thank you.
rezoning
Thanks,
approvals.
that was the question I was about to ask, the contingency. Yeah.
Council, any other questions for the developer at this point? At this point, any comments or questions in general, or any responses of what was brought up by the residents? Council?
Well, just one point too, just to add, someone question us not being.
I can't hear you.
Even I can't do it. Doggone it, sorry. I apologize to do that. To the resident's point about not having it in September, just so you guys understand, with the exception of Mr. Wilson, who's ill too, we made it a point to be here to listen, okay, from that as well. So we didn't avoid anything from last year or table it. We wanted to be clear and straightforward and be able to have this interaction with you too. Okay, too. So that was a point that was made earlier as well. I just want you to understand that's in place for us now. So I'm gonna put my mask back on and quiet, thanks.
Good idea.
Thank you.
Maybe just one.
I know, and I'm gonna take a little more time, break as well. But just to be clear, there were residents that emailed comments. Actually, a lot of them showed up and spoke as well, but if you did actually send in an email and you spoke, your email will also be in the permanent record. So if by chance, maybe you said something in the email that you didn't say up here, it's all gonna be in the permanent record. Council already received it, but it'll definitely be in the public hearing record. Just want to be clear on that. And then,
Question, will it be all the emails if we sent multiple emails or just the latest one?
No,
Well,
all of them.
all of them, well, all the emails from last month were also included in a permanent record. Yes, they were.
In this with this grouping as well?
We can't be talking from.
We can't,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to come up with them.
Yeah,
Yeah, all the emails are in the permanent record, yes, to answer the question. And if you could just hold on, I have one more. Heather Lewis. Is Heather Lewis here? Okay, so 344? Okay, thank you. I just want to make sure because once again, there's multiple emails that would come in. I just want to make sure we got them all into the record. And council, if there are any further questions, I'm going to seek a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So the public hearing is now closed. Just for the length of the meeting and for our stenographer, I'm going to ask for a 5-minute recess.
That's fine.
And we'll be right back here. So just hang out, please, everybody. So this meeting is in recess. This meeting is out of recess. It's a 9:11 p.m.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to deny the request to rezone.
We did already. You did?
Yeah, there's a motion to deny the rezoning, the 20-1-Z, correct? There's a motion to deny.
I'll
I'll second.
There's a second to deny. Any comments, council?
The only comment I had was, is that one of the things that I think is very important in the consideration of this vote is the unknown of the rest of the property. And I think that's a very large concern of mine.
And I will also say the same as I asked the question as to what would be done with the sale of the property. And I think if you were coming in with an R2 to have homes, this would be a bigger decision,
Well,
easier
even if it was
decision.
subdivided.
And also, I think senior care, like homes, are warranted, but not right there. Not where the people's homes are, exactly, so close, with no barrier at all. And then what you're gonna do with the rest of the property, that's terrifying.
Any other comments, Mr. Poach?
Yeah, sure, and the entire traffic, I'm quite familiar with that road.
My parents live off that road.
Yeah, your parents live off
My
that road,
parents
that's
and
right.
my sister
there
both live
too.
off that road, by the way.
Yeah, and I had the same kind of traffic concerns add to it. It's kind of nebulous. I appreciate the numbers. I think I understand that that's based on normal projections of numbers of, stuff too, but I'm not so sure that that's necessarily safe too as well. So I do have a lot of concerns about that.
Okay, in agreement with all the other council people and stuff like that. I was a mailman for 33 years, delivered mail up there many, many times, and you'd think the passerbys would even take a little bit more concern for me, and stuff like that. I've almost been hit numerous times. Like I said, that road cannot handle the extra load of traffic and stuff like that. I mean, it's barely passable with two cars at sometimes. So, I mean, it's a very bad road. So that's my safety concern for everybody.
Very good. My colleagues brought up a lot of good points. I would agree that there's a huge need for senior housing here in Monroeville, for quality senior housing. Long term, as far as senior housing goes, I mean, someone mentioned about families, that's what we want, single family homes, but, with senior housing and quality senior housing, well, that gets the seniors that did raise their families here, that are now empty nesters in a 4-bedroom home. It gives them a place to go to stay in the community and have new families move into their homes. So there's definitely a huge need for senior housing in the community. But I would agree that this is a very challenging spot to put it, and maybe not the best spot. And the balance of the property is definitely a concern. It was mentioned earlier about maybe changing the zoning request, that maybe just part of the area be rezoned. That's something that we would not be able to do at this meeting, like on the fly. It would have to be a separate application, so you couldn't amend that right now at this meeting. So we'd only be able to vote on the entire parcel being rezoned as you put your application in from L to R4, and there currently is a motion and a second to deny that application.
Correct.
No other comments?
No, sir.
Now, your comments are appropriate, Mayor. We do need senior housing.
Yes.
Yes,
in
not
this
there.
area.
Not there,
Absolutely.
yes.
But the project really seems great as far as the actual building itself. And
Yes.
I think what the company's doing everywhere else and what you're doing, there's nothing against that and what the company's, but I think the location is the biggest hang-up for council and the community at this time. Mr. Williams?
We need to realize that this property, this 60 acres, something's gonna go in there. And there is gonna be more traffic on Logan Ferry Road and wherever else we can transport it to. But if we even leave it at L, there's still certain things that can be built that we will be opposed to. But if it's zoned and the people own the property and they meet all the criteria, we can't stop them. All we can do is, as my colleagues say, that motion to deny at this point. And you need to know, something's gonna go in there, and there's gonna be traffic in there, there's no way around that.
Very good. I'm going to go ahead and take a roll call vote for this. There is a motion, a second to deny. Voting in the affirmative mean you are voting to deny the application. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Wolfram?
Aye.
Mr. Urasinko?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
The ayes have it. The application is denied. Appreciate you coming out. Now, folks, we are going to move on with the rest of our meeting. However, I know a lot of you are here just specifically for this item, so I can give you a couple minutes. If anyone wants to leave, now would be your time to do it. You are certainly welcome to stay. We appreciate your input and your engagement. Thank you.
That's what he's here. Yeah, yeah.
Jack, thank you for coming and everything.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks. Well, yeah, good. Congrats, though. Well, we figured you deserved it. Yeah. Well,
You gonna go back and do these things real quick?
I know that too. We're all know.
just call the municipal building.
Yeah, exactly.
Call the municipal building tomorrow, and the receptionist will be able to direct you.
All right, council members, we're going to continue on with our meeting. Council, we're looking at our minutes.
We're back to the.
Mrs. Gatos and gentlemen.
Yes, we are.
Minutes from Citizens Night in our regular council meeting of January 12th, 2020. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Moving over to our reports of our tax collections. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
To approve.
Second.
Motion is second to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. List of bills and budget transfers. Is there a motion?
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion is second. Are there any questions or comments from council about the list of bills and budget transfers?
No, sir.
Yes.
We have a motion and second to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. And our payroll report.
So moved to approve.
Second.
Motion is second to approve. Any comments? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Council, we're moving over to our vacancies on our boards, commissions, and authorities. It's in the blue section of your packet. Mrs. Gatos, do you have anything this evening?
Yes, I would like to nominate, all of the people that applied for the Human Needs and Resource Advisory Board. There's a total of 6 names listed. Therefore, that will open that board back up, which is currently closed due to no participation. So I'd like to nominate, I'm afraid to try and say these names, Cheyenne Dunbar, Sherry Lindsay, Mary Washington, Nancy Philippot, Scott Philippot, and,
Good luck.
yeah,
Where's it say good luck?
Dr. Chiarelli.
Yeah.
Dr. Shirley.
Yes, I would like to nominate all of them this evening for that board.
Second.
Motion second to nominate. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Great.
Very good. Mrs. Gatos, anything else this evening?
That's all I have for tonight.
Mr. Poach?
Sure, I'd like to make a nomination to make the same thing regarding the Ethics Board. There's 2 folks that were on there to nominate both Sherry Lindsay and Nancy Philpott to that board as well.
Second.
Motion second to nominate. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. Anything else, Mr. Poach?
No, sir.
Yeah, just for everyone that's paying attention, when we talk about nominations and appointments to any kind of board or commission or authority, it's a 2-part process. So first off, the resident sends a letter of interest and a resume to the manager. That name is then provided to council, which we get provided every month. And then a council person can choose to nominate an individual for a board or commission or an authority. So we have nominated the 8 names at this point. 1 month has to go by to our next meeting, and then individuals will be appointed at that point. So just because one is nominated does not mean you are going to be appointed. And also, too, you can only be appointed to one board, not multiple boards. So there's a couple names on here that are actually nominated to 2 boards, but they can only be appointed to one of them. Also, too, someone can be nominated and not appointed, and also someone can be nominated and be appointed 2 months from now or 3 months from now. So at this point, we do have nominations, but and those there'll be perhaps action made on these individuals for the boards at next month's meeting. Just want to clarify that. Mr. Harvey, do you have anything this evening?
Yes. This person was already, as you spoke, nominated, so I would like to make a motion to appoint Heather Wilkins of Gateway Drive to the zoning hearing board.
Second.
So that's a motion, a second, to appoint Heather to the zoning hearing board. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Anything else, Mr. Harvey?
That is all.
Mr. Wolfram?
I have a few there, Mr. Mayor. I have Scott Philpott for the
Parks and
Planning Commission, and,
That's a nomination?
yes.
So-
Second.
So is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Opposed?
and-
The ayes have it.
Okay, and I also have Cheryl Boise for the Parks and Recreation, and
It's a nomination.
nomination also, I'm sorry. And,
Second.
okay, thank you.
Motion is second to nominate Cheryl
And-
Boise. All in favor?
Wait,
Aye.
Opposed? Very good.
And I believe Nancy, did I already mention you, Miss Nancy at
Which
all?
board?
Pardon me? I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor?
Which board?
I didn't know if I mentioned her, that's what I'm saying, I'm jumping around here. Parks and Recreation.
what was the name?
Nancy
Nancy
Philpott.
Philpott.
No, we put her on the Human Needs.
Did we?
Resource-
Okay,
No,
yeah.
well, no,
There
she
was
could
one-
nominated to
She was nominated,
be
yeah, we
nominated,
nominated her to that board.
Okay, then that's what I have there.
So you're making a motion to nominate her to Parks and Rec as well?
Yes.
I'll second.
In a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Very good.
Mayor, can you jump back to me for 1 minute?
Sure.
You see it?
Go ahead, Mr. Harvey.
I wanted to nominate Mary Washington, Ward 7. It's an opening in Ward 3, but she's the one that applied, and I'm willing to support her, so I'd like to nominate Mary
I'll
Washington.
second.
To what?
And which board, Mr. Harvey?
Parks and Rec.
Parks and Recreation.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Very good. Anything else? Mr. Harvey?
No, that's all, thank you.
Mr. Arsenko?
None, sir, this evening.
Mr. Williams?
Yeah, I'd like to appoint Emily L. Hoffman to the library board.
Second.
Point?
That's an appointment? Yep.
That's an
Yeah,
appointment.
she was nominated
She
last
was
month.
nominated on December 8th.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Anything else, Mr. Williams?
Nothing else.
Very good. Council, moving over to our second, and this would be also our second and third items on our list, 20-6-ST 4301 Northern Pike Partners for Starbucks, and also 20-4-sub for the same property, 4301 Northern Pike Partners for Starbucks. The applicant emailed. Oh, one more. Thank you, Mr. Ratcher. And then the third item, which is number 4 on your list, 20-4-C, same address, 4301 Northern Pike Partners LLC for Starbucks. So all three of these items we're considering at the same time. The applicant has emailed staff to requesting a tabling of this.
So moved.
Second.
The motion is second to table this item. There's no discussion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Arsenko?
Aye.
Mr. Wolfram?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Okay. Good.
Council, move over to new business. Mr. Little, for the.
Yeah, new business, B, we have 20-FST MSP Properties of Pennsylvania LP. Dollar General applicant is requesting site plan approval to construct 9,100 square feet of retail and associated site amenities. The property is .79 acres located at 2501 Mosside Boulevard, tax parcel 857R091 in the C2 Business Commercial District. The Planning Commission recommends approval. Is the applicant here this evening?
Yep. My name is Mitchell Pappin, and I am the owner of MSP Properties. I'm the Dollar General developer.
Welcome, Mitchell.
Draw a couple drawings. So as you said, I'm looking for site plan approval at 2501 Mosside Boulevard. As right now, it stands as a about 2,000 square foot building. It's an old self-serve. It's vacant. I don't know if I can.
They'll show it.
They'll show it.
This is what it currently looks like. I'm proposing to put a 9,100 square foot Dollar General. This would be a rendering of it. I don't know if you can see it too well with the colors.
Macbeth and, Macbeth
Down
and
Macbeth.
Corner of
Moss Side
Macbeth
Macbeth.
and Moss Side Boulevard.
It's the old cell phone place.
Yeah,
I
I don't
do.
know if they sold cell phones or they fixed
I thought just
tap-
because that, is that place
Yeah.
vacant
I think
now?
they did repairs, yeah, I think it is vacant.
Yeah, it's
It
been
was a cell
vacant.
phone repair.
I think it was repairs,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Used to be grounds.
Is that the Belts? Belts is?
yes.
Yeah,
Belts'
yep.
building, yeah.
Yeah, going down 48
brothers,
on the
yeah.
right.
This is the site plan.
There we go.
All right. We're proposing 26 parking stalls, which is actually more than what's there now. Here's the building layout. We're using the 2 aprons that are there now. We're expanding them, obviously, for better access.
'Cause that's right at the light,
And
isn't it?
this is what I propose.
The current building's gonna be demolished.
Yes.
Is there gonna be access all the way around?
There is now.
Behind the building?
now.
No.
No.
No. There will be a side.
Macbeth and Mossite have
That's
access.
correct.
Yeah,
And
yes, there's
he's-
access
I
there.
think
Yes,
it-
sorry.
what Mr. Harvey's asking is, will like a fire truck be able to drive around the whole building?
No, fire
No.
truck won't be able. There's a access right here, but it will not be able to drive around the whole building. And we meet
Okay, I
the
think that's what he
setback.
was asking.
What is the rear setback for that building? 10 feet or
15 feet.
15 feet?
And I think Paul can answer that.
Answer me this, when you come down Macbeth, and the building's on your left, and the front of the building looks great, but you could do something to the side of the buildings that don't look like it's the side of a building, maybe a couple more windows in there or something?
Yeah, I could propose to put 3 windows in between. Actually, I'd put 2 because there's an
Could you put
exit
that
door
back
there.
up, please?
Yeah, sorry about that. If you just, you could point out on the picture there.
So he's proposing to put 2 windows.
Jared, I'm
He-
sorry, if you could use the camera here, because he's gonna be,
And instead of having a blank wall, it'd be more appealing.
Yeah,
to-
windows
to
right
have
here
a
that'll
room.
match these windows. I like
Okay.
that.
Just like the front.
Yep, I can do
Yeah,
that.
Put a couple windows on the side, that'd be nice.
that's something to be added to the conditions.
That's no problem.
We can do that.
You gotta put the windows in.
And you've met all the conditions with stormwater management and all of that?
Yeah.
Can you show us that,
Stormwater
please?
is pretty big. It's this entire square here underground.
Okay, can you do that again?
This square.
Okay,
That's a full access driveway. I think I talked to Paul about that.
Yes.
Am I correct about that?
Yep.
and when are you guys
Paul,
gonna
does he
be
meet
able
all
to
your
start it?
standards?
I was just gonna ask
To
that.
meet the sidewalk standards?
Mr. Wilden, if you could find a microphone. The question was if they meet all of our standards, our sidewalk standards, and
They
if
do.
there's any issues from your,
The plan has been reviewed by staff and also MS Consultants for stormwater compliance. They actually received their stormwater consistency letter today.
Good.
very good. Council, any other questions?
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Second.
I second, yeah.
Motion is second to approve. Any other comments? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Wolfram?
Aye.
Mr. Arcego?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Thank
good
you.
night.
For your
Good
project.
luck,
Thank
sir.
you.
Oh, wait a minute. Should we not add, the change, the windows?
That's gonna be
It's in
put
the-
on the record.
Okay.
It's on the record.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good.
And I'll be turning in the architect drawings this week, so.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah,
that
it's
was
part of one
covered.
of the conditions, yes. Thank you.
Yep. Have a good one.
All right, Mitchell, take care. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. Council, moving over to our next item. Mr. Little.
Okay, 20-7ST Sheets Incorporated. Applicant is requesting site plan approval to reconstruct an existing sheet store that is currently 5,027 square feet with a 5,775 square foot building and associated site amenities. The renovation work includes replacing 8 gas pumps. The property is 1.66 acres located at 3954 William Penn Highway, tax and parcel 743L166. In the C2 Business Commercial District, Planning Commission recommends approval. This is the one over that way down on Route 22.
Duff Road.
Basically, yes.
Yep, corner of Duff Road and 20.
Right by the Army store.
And we have, this is a conditional use also, there is a public hearing with this also, item number 3, the same language as far as a description of the property and where it is located, and is a public hearing because there is a conditional use associated with this.
Okay, well, the applicant's here. Brian, if you want to maybe step up. And state your name for the record, please.
Yes, my name is Brian Soika.
Welcome, Brian. Is there anyone else in the audience that plans to add testimony to this public hearing? Seeing none, I swear to Brian.
Yeah.
Brian, if you would, if I could swear you in, please.
Sure.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. So if you may just give a brief overview of your project, and we'll go from there.
Sure. Thank you for seeing me this evening. This is part of a program, a remodel program that we've been doing at all Sheets locations across our footprint of a certain age. And we're getting around to this one now.
Can they just renovate that?
Yes. That renovation was to add seating.
Dining room.
Yes. And so we've come around, and as you probably know, we're very heavy on our brand image, and that store really doesn't match our brand image anymore. We don't have enough room to do a complete rebuild, and we're not finding property anywhere else. That's a good one for us. So we've decided to do a major remodel, and that's what we call this program. We've currently been...
Will that be closed during this?
It will be closed. Will be closed for, this one will be about 11 weeks.
The whole business? Because some places leave the pumps open when they revamp.
Right, and we have tried that before,
Not
but
worth it, no.
this is, we're gonna close everything down. That allows us to get in there, get it done, and get back
Wow.
open.
Oh, that's too bad. You're gonna kill him.
Yeah, he's there, he's there, favorite coffee.
I'm only asking you because I'm making alternate plans for my coffee.
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, you go to the one down on 48.
We might have to make a contingent.
You guys renovated the one down on the bottom of 48
Yes.
recently, so.
Yes.
And you closed it down and,
Yeah, that was, I believe in 2018.
yeah,
It's basically the same thing.
okay,
It pretty much is the same thing. This one already has seating, so we don't really have to do that.
Yeah.
But as part of what we're doing, the whole front of that building is going to come out, and everything inside, including the floor, is coming out. And we're doing a whole new interior, rooftop units, the whole 9 yards. With this, we will be replacing the underground tanks. It's time to get those out of there and get new ones in.
good.
So with that,
the
we're going to
environment.
take the opportunity to change up the fuel offering, and we already have auto diesel. We'll continue having that, plus the regulars of 87, 89, and 93 octanes. But in addition, with the new tank configuration, we'll be adding E0, which is zero ethanol. That is a very popular fuel offering for contractors with, the smaller engines, gas, lawnmowers, and such.
That'll be nice.
Is that 750 square feet larger?
It is. It is larger, yes, and it's around 750 square feet. Right now, the existing building is somewhere around 5,300. We're adding 398 square feet.
What'd you do for parking?
Parking is going to stay the same. We don't have any more room to put any more parking.
You still have shared parking for the Army-Navy store, girls?
There is one space there, I
One
believe.
space for them?
And it will remain.
Paul, do you concur with that?
Yes.
That the parking is good?
Is there any upgrades needed for their stormwater?
Yes.
Okay.
There is, and as part of our plan, we've added underground stormwater management system.
Great.
Will the traffic patterns stay the same?
Yes. Yeah, this is really a remodel of the existing store. So the canopy structures will not be removed. What we are removing is the crosswalk from the gas islands back to the store. That overhead part will be removed. As part of our brand image, we really want to be big in food. So the new style of our stores, get rid of that overhead canopy so people can see the better architecture of the store itself.
But the outside ones, that canopy will stay the same?
That canopy will stay the same,
It's not
yes.
gonna lower at all?
No. That canopy will stay the same. The columns will get a new wrap on them. We'll have to match the new, the look of the store. So
don't have
they'll
a
have
picture,
a
huh?
brick or a stone base with a bronze wrap up above.
Do you have a conceptual
Yeah,
drawing?
yeah,
I do.
say, do you have the picture?
Now, tell me about the sidewalk. Is that in compliance, or is it,
Well, can we look at the building first?
Maybe.
So with this building, the upper image here is the front, which is facing 22.
Close.
You were close.
They connect.
It was too close. Well, I live right off of 219. I'm sure you're all familiar with our store now.
Yes.
We got an entrance on the front and an entrance on the side.
Right.
What this does, it combines us into a central vestibule on the corner that is easily accessible from both sides, and a little more energy efficient, adding a vestibule to the plan.
Yeah.
Along the front there, that will be where the seating is now. It'll continue to be there, albeit it'll all be brand new, because that's a new storefront, new
Similar to the
windows.
Murrysville store?
No. No, Murrysville is quite a bit bigger.
Yeah, I was gonna say, twice almost.
There's a lot more
Yeah,
land.
it's quite a
there.
bit bigger. That was we tried a lot of things in that store. And we really don't have the room here for this, but the look, the brand image is still there. We have the introduction of the stone base and the brick above with the red metal awnings
Yeah.
above the windows now.
Are the sidewalks that wrap around the store bigger?
Yes, that was one of the problems with that program that added beer. They just went in and squeezed it in the best they could. This, it will have 5.5 feet, I believe. That includes the curb. We've been getting rid of the curb where we can, but unfortunately, grade-wise, we can't do that here. But this sidewalk will get all ripped out. We're putting in new curbing, new sidewalk, brick paver sidewalks. So the look and appearance of this you will think this is a brand-new store when you see it.
What's the time frame on the reconstruction?
10 weeks. 11 weeks, because we're doing tanks here, we add another week.
Right.
So we plan to have everything ready and start construction on May 5th, I believe it is. Yes, May 5th. No, April 5th, I'm sorry, April 5th. And reopen on June 24th.
are you planning on redoing the island on the west side? Seems like the trucks running over there got it kind of
Yes,
smashed up.
yes.
Would you need that island? Make it easier for trucks to come in and
I
out?
would like to get it out of there. It is a mountable island, but it is all busted up, so, as is a lot of the concrete on that lot. So with everything that we're doing, installing the underground storm system, and replacing the tanks, and all the underground piping for the product lines from the tank field to the islands, all new islands, all new dispensers. The only thing petroleum-wise that it's staying is the canopy structures themselves. Other than that, they're gonna look brand new, as is all the islands, all the pavement, everything. In essence, this is really a big maintenance effort. We're not changing any of the perimeter curbing. We're not expanding anywhere. Everything's exactly going to operate the same way it does now, but everything's gonna be new.
How wide is that front sidewalk now?
The storefront at the store,
Yeah, along 22.
along 22, I believe that's 4 foot. That's a 4 foot wide sidewalk.
Would we need to expand that to 5 feet?
I believe it's 5 foot.
5 foot?
5 foot?
And make sure if there's a pole there, it'd have to be wider than that, so somebody in a wheelchair could get around there.
Right.
There's some along 22 that have trouble.
With the entrances, with the new concrete in there, we are looking at, updating those, the accessible ramps, the handicap ramps at those entrances.
So that front one will be at least 5 feet wide then,
If it's not,
along 22, okay.
yes. Yeah, the plan as it is now, we're not looking to go out onto that sidewalk. It's in fairly good shape. It seems to be wide enough, I'm not sure, but
Okay.
if it needs to be, we'll end up doing it.
Probably just add a foot to it if you had to. Tear the whole thing up.
Don't read that one.
Right.
To approve at this point.
Yeah, with that, speaking of the canopies, the gas canopy, here's a section view of the stone base with the bronze ACM wrap above.
And one more question for you.
Yes.
You know, General Motors is planning on doing away with all gasoline cars by 35. Are you gonna have electric fuel stations?
I don't think I'll be working by that age, so
It'll be a new
I don't
store
think
by
I'm
then.
gonna
I
be
could not answer that
And by
question.
then, won't it be time for another renovation?
Yes.
It probably will, but
Yeah.
every
Yes.
15 years is when we look at these to bring them back up to
It'll be
date.
time. It'll be time for a renovation.
So,
Yeah, it'll be time for another renovation. You put them
I'm
in.
hoping in about 7 years tops, I'm gonna be retired, and my name's not Sheets, so they make those
There you
decisions.
go. Hey, Brian, do you have anything else you want to add for the testimony for the public hearing?
Not unless I have to.
Okay, I don't believe so. Any other questions, council? So actually, I'm going to close the public hearing portion of it, and I'm going to seek a motion.
Motion to approve.
Is that both of these?
That's what I was going to ask you. So,
Yeah, do both.
A motion to close? Do we have to do that first? Make a motion and a second to close?
Yes.
making a
Okay,
motion?
motion to close the public
Second.
hearing.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. So
Motion
there is a
to approve.
both items,
Yes, sir.
Yes. Second.
and a second to approve both
Both
items.
items, yes,
Yes.
sir.
20-7-ST and 20-7-C.
Yes.
There's a motion and a second to approve. Any other comments, council? Roll call, please.
Aye.
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 The ayes have it. Good luck with your project.
Thank you.
Thank you very
guys
much.
always do a good job.
Everyone, thank
Yeah,
you.
We appreciate your business,
Yeah.
or at least the Sheets name.
I got Sheets
Thank
gift
you.
cards. It's still good?
Thank you.
Council, we're going to move over to our motions this evening. Mr. Little, we have 3 this evening.
Yes, the first one is a motion to authorize to advertise an ordinance establishing a handicap parking only zone on Heather Drive in front of 276 Heather Drive.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Oh, I-
Third.
Comment.
Motion and a second to approve. Comment?
Comment. I drove up and down there, and there's no parking signs there on both sides of the street, 2 AM to 6 AM. Can we get an explanation on why 2 AM to 6 AM?
That's the ordinance.
That's the
Yeah,
ordinance.
That's the ordinance.
That's the
Yeah.
ordinance.
So how did an ordinance like that come about? 2
That was
AM to
50
6
years ago, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that ordinance is a blanket ordinance for the entire
Doesn't hear that.
community. You can't
It was-
park 2
it
AM to
was
6
meant
AM, but
For the snow plowing.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. You
But the
know,
signs,
if
it's not
we let
enforceable if the
somebody
signs
park
go
out
up.
there, you know, wintertime would be a little tough.
Okay, Bob. Thank you.
Any
Yeah.
other comments about this item?
You know, I was just wondering, do they not have a private driveway in that
They do.
facility?
They got garages in the back.
Yeah, I was wondering, so why, actually, I'm just wondering at this point, then why do they need a, but, just curious.
Might be easier access into their
Yeah,
house.
well, I know, but I know, like I said, again, me being a mailman, I think I know every address in the Monroeville. So, just curious about that, so. That's all, I was just wondering if they had,
Any other comments, council?
Nope.
There's a motion, a second to approve. Roll call, please.
Mr. Williams?
No.
Mr. Arcego?
Aye.
Mr. Wolfram?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Next motion, Mr. Little.
Okay, this is a motion to enter an agreement with Hozak Spec Mutual and Wood LLP to conduct the 2020, 2021, and 22 audits at their respective fees as outlined in the hourly fees. 2020 is $27,400, 2021 is $28,200, and 2022 is $29,000. The $27,400 figure is the same as 2019.
Motion to approve.
I will second.
Motion is second. Is there a comment?
Yes, they've done ours in the past, correct?
years.
Miss-
Yes.
Several years.
For years, so that everyone knows this is not someone new. They've done them for us
Right.
for a lot of time, so.
Right.
Thank you, Linda, that's a good point.
Any other comments?
No.
Roll call, please. There's a motion and a second to approve.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Wolfram?
Aye.
Mr. Arcego?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Mr. Little, next item.
Okay, item number 3, a motion to enter into an agreement with the Cohen Law Group to negotiate the renewal of the municipal Comcast franchise agreement and a franchise-free audit for the fee not to exceed $11,840 plus expenses, notwithstanding additional service if needed, for $250 per hour. This would be the same a law firm that has negotiated our Verizon agreement that you just approved in January. Our agreement with Comcast is up at the end of this year. And if you have looked at their presentation or their submittal, we're doing this with 4 other communities through the COG, Forest Hills, Wilkins, I forget the other one. But it's listed in the,
But it keeps our costs down by
exactly.
doing this in a group.
Exactly, it keeps the
Bundle
cost down.
effect.
Yes,
Well,
and we've done it
this-
with them before.
This law firm has done,
Work for us, yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
I'll
Second.
second.
We have a motion second to approve. Any other comments, council? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Arcego?
Aye.
Mr. Wolfram?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
The ayes have it. That's it for our motions this evening. We have one resolution this evening. Mr. Little?
A resolution to appoint persons to the restructured Monroeville Zoning Hearing Board.
Motion to approve.
So this would be the appointment made earlier, Heather Wilkins,
Right,
for the
that's what-
4-year term ending December 31st, 2024. And that this is per an MPC requirement for expanded zoning hearing boards. And that will conclude the vacancies on the zoning hearing board for this year.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
We motion second to
Second.
approve.
Second.
Mr. Wolfram, second. Any other comments? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Wolfram?
Aye.
Mr. Arcego?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Moving over to our ordinances this evening, Mr. Ratcher.
First ordinance is an ordinance of the Municipality of Monroeville, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, establishing a handicap parking only zone on Shady Ridge Drive in front of 414 Shady Ridge Drive. I have been advised that the application for this matter is incomplete, and so tabling would be in order until next month.
So move.
Second.
Motion table in a second. Roll call, please.
That's all right, I mean,
Yeah, late, huh?
that's just for the next item.
Mr. Williams?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Hello, stand by, please.
Mr. Little, can I question this?
Yeah, no, we have a motion. There's
Yeah,
already
motion to
a table. So roll call on the table,
Betty,
please.
she didn't get it all her,
Did
she
you
did
talk-
not
I just
have.
need to know if you talked to her, that
Oh,
she
yeah.
knows what
Oh,
to
yeah.
do now, and
Yeah, Darren,
I don't want to
talked
leave
her.
her hanging is all.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, she just have to, she says the form will be in 2 to 3 weeks.
thank you.
Roll call, please.
Stand by, please.
Mr. Williams?
This is the table of the item, just for the applicant to allow them more time to finish up what they need to finish up.
Stand by, please.
Aye.
Mr. Wolfram?
Aye.
Stand by,
Mr.
sir.
Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Mr. Ratcher.
Okay, we have an ordinance of the Municipality of Monroeville, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, authorizing the incurring of non-electoral debt by issuance of one or more general obligation notes in a combined principal amount of $5,750,000, covenanting to pay and pledging unlimited taxing power for the payment of the notes, fixing the form, interest rates, maturity redemption, and other provisions for the payment thereof, accepting proposals for the purchase of the notes, authorizing a filing of the required documents with the Department of Community and Economic Development, ratifying and directing certain actions of officers, and making certain other covenants and provisions in respect of the notes.
This is, as council knows, this is the restructuring of our debt, and if council has any questions for Jamie Doyle from Public Financial Management or Ron Brown, the bond counsel, they should be on the phone right now. They said they would call in.
You are live in the meeting.
Welcome, gentlemen. Council, any questions for
I have none.
Jamie is a lady.
professional? I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Sorry, Jamie. Welcome.
I don't think they can hear us.
Okay, but we have no questions this evening?
None.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion to approve and a second. Any other comments, council? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Wolfram?
Aye.
Mr. Urasingo?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Can they hear us?
Well, it's a moot point now.
It's a moot point now.
At least say thank you, goodbye.
Tell them to go to bed.
Thank you, goodbye.
Hang up on it, you'll know more.
Very good.
There you go.
Thank you.
You'll know more.
Do we hang up on them?
Moving over to our reports of our staff and officials. Mr. Ratcher, you have anything this evening?
I do not. Thank you.
Mr. Little?
Yeah, the only item I have is a recycling event at the Public Works on Star Avenue on the property on February the 13th, which is the following Saturday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. We have ESC and R out of Evans City that has done this before.
Is that
You
the
go on-
electronics?
Pardon me?
Is that the electronics recycling?
I don't, you'd have to go on the website, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it says
I'm not
electronic.
sure if it's-
Electronic waste, including
It's
TVs,
electronic.
computers.
It's including it then.
Okay. No explosives.
We haven't had a recycling event in a while because of the pandemic, so this is a good time to get your electronics, your hazardous waste, paint and things of that nature, get it together. And it'd be best to go on our website, and there's a link where you can register. It's best if you register and pick out a time instead of waiting in line for a long period of time. Also, I'd like to offer my condolences to Mr. Ratcher on the passing of his mother. And also, we have a lot of people that have been retiring. I figured I'd mention for their work here in the community. Officer Pyoff and Officer Allison have retired, and also JB, our production assistant. Today was his last day, and we had a little soiree for him, and Mr. Sedlak, Jay Sedlak up there is going to be taking his place. And also, Joanne Morse in our Park and Recreation Department is a granddaughter for the third time, Emily Ann. So that concludes my announcements.
Liz.
Liz Summer retirement.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, Liz Summers, okay, I'm sorry, and Liz Summer is retiring. I'm sorry, apologize, Liz.
And we'll keep going, Karen Barton as well. So we have a
Karen
long
Barton.
list. This was actually a big month for retirements, and we appreciate all of their service to our community and all the hard work that they've put into Monroeville, and wish all those individuals the best on their retirement.
Amen.
Anything else, Mr. Little?
That's it.
Mrs. Gatos, do you have anything actually, no, I apologize. You know what? Mr. Hugus, anything?
No, sir.
Okay. Don't want to leave you out. I guess everybody, as far as staff goes, Mrs. Gatos.
I would like to thank all the residents that took their time to come up and give us their thoughts and opinions on what was happening. I hope they understand it's a hard decision for us on all fronts. We don't own the land, so it's not like we were trying to sell it to make money for the borough. So I think that there may have been a little confusion on some of the comments that were made. But I do appreciate you guys all taking your time to come up. I also appreciate you for coming up about the boards and wanting to be part of the community. We certainly welcome it. We look forward to it. And I hope that it sparks some more interest further out into our community to bring people into being involved in what's going on in their own township here. So I thank you all for that. I also want to send my best wishes to Mr. Wilson in the hospital for a speedy recovery so that he can get home. I'm sure his animals are missing him and he's missing them. We all know how he is about his animals. And of course, big condolences to Mr. Ratcher on the passing of your mother. I'm terribly sorry for you. And as always, congrats to all of our retirees and thank them for their services. And stay safe, keep your mask on and wash your hands. Oh, and happy Valentine's Day.
Oh, I forgot that.
Jeez, I thought I was gonna get one over.
No.
But I forgot. God darn.
You know my
Mr.
mouth goes
Post.
faster than my brain sometimes, so there we go.
Everybody just say what she said more, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's ruin your best piece, but the reality I do want to add in particular to the folks, all the large number of folks that, after we got a little publicity, a little conversation about it, got a little activity going on it as well, that did,
Yes.
apply to the boards, that is so large, improvement over folks that have applied in the past, to be interested too, so I hope that's a continued trend. Today, it's glad we restarted another board that hadn't been out for quite some time. All the retirees, yes, I had those written down too. Tim, you never usually steal our thunder and the retirees.
Yes,
but
he
that's
I
great.
missed to, and I
I
feel
know,
bad about
right.
that.
That's great.
There's so many people walking out of
Yeah,
here
Karen and
retiring.
Robbie, and having worked with Rob for a number of years as well, and Joe as well, Joey Balsick as well, that's great. Good luck. I'm surprised there's no photo, guys. Yeah,
Yeah, well, maybe we'll start something like
yeah,
that.
it starts out, we had Joe's photo for that as well too.
Joe Bart's.
And on a blow too, we did talk to Mr. Wilson right before we started executive session, and he was disappointed, not being here, and we were talking about it too, so good luck to him as well, too. And I'll move on, because Linda did everything else.
Thank you, Mr. Poach. Mr. Harvey.
Just real quick, my condolences to Mr. Ratcher for the loss of his mother. I did not know till recently that Mr. Wilson was in ill health, and I wanted to send him our best from Nancy and myself, because he knows us both well, and hope him for a better recovery and road to better health. And last but not least, congratulations to Detective Rob Hyatt on his retirement.
Thank you. Mr. Wolfram.
Simple, ditto to everything that everybody else has said. However, I would like to say, Mr. Ratcher, my sympathy goes out to you and stuff like that. Also, again, I also did not know about Mr. Wilson until recently, which I texted him in the hospital, and I wished him good success in his recovery. Hope he can get back here as soon as he can and everything like that, because we all miss him for various reasons. Again, ditto to everything that everybody has says, and I thank you.
Mr. Arsico.
Bob, obviously condolences to the loss of your mom, and I'm sure that was tough for you. To all the retirees, thank you for your service. I think you guys will be missed, but enjoy your retirement. Hopefully a lot of years ahead of you. A couple announcements I need to make in regards to what's going on at the county. There's a new ordinance going on. It's 11481-20, which is going to mandate every business in Allegheny County to provide sick leave if you have 15 or more employees. It sounds good. And if you have 1 to 14, you have to provide 25 hours of sick leave.
So either way.
So what I'm saying is that I'm hoping that the residents will let county council know we're just coming out of a pandemic. This is crazy. They're gonna put a lot of businesses out. I get the idea that you wanna take care of your employees, but if you're a small employer like a pizza shop, how you gonna do that if you have 5 or 6 employees? Provide them week, or 25 hours even of sick leave. That's a big issue down there. I'm hoping that you guys will email them and tell them, not at this time, certainly not. Again, we're still dealing with the pandemic. The other issue they're still dealing with is the Civilian Police Review Board. It's been tried at least 3 or 4 different times. And again, I'm asking all the residents to please let county council know that, to vote no on that. And again, I'll explain why. If there's an officer steps out of line, they have the chief of police to review. You have the mayor, you have city council, you've got the district attorney's office, you even have the court system. They have a lot of checks and balances on them already. So please let county council know that they are not in favor, to vote no on that Civilian Police Review Board. And for my colleagues on council, March 4th of this year, it'll be our first Allegheny County Bar Association meeting, which I will be in attendance. And happy Valentine's Day, and I agree with everything else everybody said. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Williams?
Yeah, my thoughts and prayers go out to the Smelts family as they mourn the loss of Lloyd Smelts Jr. He spent all 80 years of his life in Monroeville. His dad was the owner of Smelts Automotive down on Monroeville Road. And my thoughts and prayers just go out to him. My thoughts and prayers also go out to Tom Wilson as he's in the hospital, that he'd recover speedily and come back to us. And Bob, condolences once again on your loss of your mom. It's never an easy thing that phone call. And when we're prepared, we're never ready. And when we're ready, we're never prepared. It's like punching you in the face when you hear the news. So anyhow, we'll be praying for you in the next few days
Thanks, Bob.
to come.
Appreciate it.
Congratulations, Emily Hoffman, on her appointment to the library board. Look for many good years from you. Thank you, and good night.
Again, I'm going to echo a lot of the things that were already said, but just I want to thank the residents for coming out this evening and being involved. And certainly it's been a long time coming to have an in-person meeting, and I think we were able to do it safely. And it's really the best way to get business done. The Zoom meetings, you know, they serve a purpose. They're not ideal, but we're definitely happy to be back in person, and we'll do it as long as we can safely. Want to thank, once again, just the retirees. Best wishes on their future endeavors. Mr. Wilson, wishing you a speedy recovery as well, and want you back here in person. And as everyone else mentioned, I just want to express my condolences to Mr. Ratcher, you and your family for the loss.
Appreciate it.
And with that, I want to seek a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
To adjourn.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you and good night.